Give me one unique hack each to a 20-year-old boy or girl who wants to become a creator. Are we rolling?
We have been rolling.
I feel like we've been rolling for a while.
Yeah.
Okay, hi guys. Thank
Hello.
you. Lovely to meet you for the
Lovely
first
to
time.
meet you. Thank you for having me.
Say that to us also.
No, I can't say it to these guys because I know them too well. They're all brothers from a long time in different ways. I know more about them.
So if I'm a brother, do I get part of the inheritance?
I have no kids, dude.
I just want to know.
Bro, there's no inheritance. He's giving it all away. Did you not hear?
Okay. I'm Nikhil, Nitin and Nitesh. I'm Nitesh actually. You guys don't know.
But that's assuming you would live longer than I.
No, even जब बंटवारा होगा तो मुझे थोड़ा चाहिए ना. You know,
Oh, is this the kind of podcast we're going to have today?
Yeah.
just like have
The
fun.
one with no English language?
No, we keep it English. No, but you guys are the pros at this. I'm the newbie. I do this one night a month. I'm trying to learn how you do this. So teach me along the way.
Oh, says the guy who uploaded #1 on Spotify this week. WTF.
But also Naz, because these guys have watched it maybe. It's a conversation between...
I've watched too.
Okay, it's a conversation between all of us. So it's not me asking questions. It's not you answering. So we can all talk. Typically, we begin by saying a bit about ourselves. And because I know you guys, this is going to be fun. Should we start with Prajakta?
Oh, okay. Yeah, hi. Do I say it to everybody?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, then it's awkward. But I'm Prajakta. I'm a content creator, actor now from Mumbai, India. And I started creating content in 2015. And I've been doing it for close to 9 years now. And I kind of also branched out into acting a little bit in 2019.
Why did you first begin creating content?
Because I failed at the one dream that I had. I wanted to be a radio jockey ever since I was 11.
Failed meaning?
I became a radio jockey and the show didn't work and I got fired. And I also hurt myself, so I get it. So when I started doing radio, it was fun for the first, I think, couple of months. And then later it just got, like, it was nothing like I'd imagined it would be. So it's quite disappointing. And that's when I met Sudeep from One Digital. And he was like, you should have a YouTube channel, you should create content. And I didn't know what that meant. So, and I was very unhappy as a radio intern. So I was like, you know what, I'm just going to try content. And
In Bombay, 10 years ago?
In Mumbai, yeah. And it just started like that. I had absolutely no dreams or no kind of way forward or any idea about what I was doing.
All of you guys who've done influencing for so long, you know what is one thing which is so stark? Like the way your voice has inflection.
So sorry, one second. I have to stop you. There's no such thing as influencing.
What do I
No
call
one
it?
here has done any influence.
What do I call it?
Influencers are the fathers, the doctors, the mothers, the teachers. They influence children. We've done creating of content. We created content and it has impacted people. But influencer is a term, is like Mumbai Bombay. Influencer as a term is like slightly self-obsessed, no? What do you guys think?
Good.
I never related to that term, honestly.
Prajakta, actually, I want to add, Prajakta was one of the earlier generations on YouTube. Then she did a short film called Khayali Pula, in case you haven't seen. That was the first time I saw Prajakta act.
Good?
Yeah, really good. And I messaged her also after that saying, shit, I didn't know you could act. That's crazy. And now that you mentioned theatre, and then, I've known Prajakta for a while. She's extremely hardworking.
You're Marathi.
I am, yes.
What
My
do you-
mama's from Delhi. Baba's from...
What do your parents do?
Baba used to work, he was in Cadbury before and then later he was working in real estate. And Mama was a phonetics teacher. She used to teach languages.
Phonetics teacher.
Yeah.
Wow.
What is that?
So, I mean, she used to have a bunch of kids because apparently they're not taught ABCD anymore. It's A, B, K, D. So it's the phonetics that, and she used to teach that.
I'll tell you more about her.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Every time
Why
I-
is this big?
It's like we're introducing each other.
Can we do this? Can the three of you say, what does Prajakta appear to the outside world in your lens?
Yeah. So I'd had Priyanka Chopra on the podcast once and she gave this example of a swan that looks like it's very peaceful on the surface, but on the inside, the feet are paddling. Don't think I've come across a more hardworking and disciplined professional than this person.
Seconded. She's very hardworking.
Like she's probably the most disciplined content creator that I've known throughout my career.
And she is Bill Gates' favorite creator. Every time I see her, it's either at Bill Gates conference or at Davos conference. So she's like represents India in the major conferences. I'll tell you what, they're not going to invite Tanmay for this one. Too risky.
Not anymore, brother. Not anymore.
How is that? How do you get yourself in these places?
I think YouTube had a huge role to play in that. 2019 is when YouTube kind of reached out to me for this program called Creators for Change. 2018. And they were like, do you want to... So they pick a few creators from across the world and they put like a band of us together and they're like, make videos for this program called Creators for Change. And every year they have different themes. In 2018 is when they reached out for the first time, and then 2019 was the second year. And that's when there was this documentary that they were making with Michelle Obama for girls' education. And they reached out to me for that. And I think that was my first kind of step up from what I was doing back home. And that kind of opened a lot of doors for me. So YouTube has been a huge cheerleader in my journey beyond just doing the content that I was natively doing on my channel, just putting me out there, giving me a platform to speak about things. And then I happened to meet Nikhil Taneja, who kind of put me in touch with goalkeepers. So that's how that started. The UNDP kind of came in through both these channels. So it kind of went into a whole domino effect once the first Creators for Change video went out. And yeah, so that's how it began.
And when did you blow up and all of that? 2018, 2017?
My first video actually went viral. So I started in Feb of 2015, and the first video that really, really blew up was in the July of that year. Quickly.
What was it about?
It was a video called Words Delhiites Use. I hurt a lot of Delhi ego in that video, but it kind of like blew up. And then it's just been like a roller coaster. Like it was not 1 week was like another for a very, very long time.
Very cool. And now, what are you looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to more acting. I'm writing.
Is that a natural transition? Creator, distribution, acting?
It wasn't planned. I was very surprised when it started coming my way because when I started making content, I don't think any of us thought that these avenues were actually even possible for us. So I was very surprised with it. I've always loved acting and I missed it after I quit theatre. So when it came, I was like, okay, I'm going to give it a try. But it wasn't conscious, no. It just kind of happened.
Is there a hierarchy in that world? Like, I know there is a hierarchy between TV actors and large screen actors. When an influencer comes into that world, is it tougher? Like, are you treated the same as an actor?
I feel like I also happen to be very fortunate to become an actor at a time when the lines are slightly blurrier than they were before. I feel like OTT really opened it up for actors, where now if you see, like for example, seeing what a Karishma Tanna is doing or what a Harman Baweja is doing, like it's just crazy seeing them. Because now suddenly I don't think that hierarchy is there where, you know, if you're a TV actor, you won't get cast because TV, film, theatre, everybody's doing OTT.
I don't mean from a casting lens,
okay.
but from a societal hierarchy perception lens.
I think there is. Unfortunately, there is. There's even classism between platforms. If we are a TikToker, a Facebooker, a YouTuber, or an Instagrammer, it's like YouTuber is like class 1 citizen, then Instagrammer, then TikToker, then Facebooker.
Is that true?
Yeah, I agree.
Do you agree with the classing?
What did you say again, the order?
I think YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Facebook.
I think, see, the people who... There's a line that I think Kunal Shah had once said, which is, jitna bada screen, utna bada profile, right? Like, the bigger the screen, the higher the status.
Totally.
Right? So, movie, perception is very high status. And then for a long time, it was like television came before digital. And I think now digital is kind of penetrating a lot of it. Mostly my thesis is that hey, if you own distribution, you own eyeballs. No matter where you move to, the eyeballs will travel there, and it's playing out in the OTT world. Like Bhuvan has his own show, Prajakta has her own show, but I think like it still plays out in ways like if a an Instagram creator gets a hoarding, right? They're on a hoarding. It's still a huge moment. It becomes the reel saying, oh, look, I'm on a hoarding, even though every story gets way more eyeballs than a hoarding would.
What's a hoarding?
A hoarding, like a billboard.
Oh,
like
you were on a billboard recently.
I was, yes.
A candy thing.
Yeah, with Cadbury.
And so when I was on a billboard, it's like the billboard gets what, 10 views, 20 views?
Exactly.
But the picture of the billboard on Instagram
Gets way
so
more.
many likes.
Yeah.
I have something to say about Kunal, I think. The screen, what did you say? The bigger the screen is, the...
Bigger the screen, higher the status.
Okay. And then combining it with this whole us getting older and times changing, I'd be way more excited to meet Joe Rogan than Tom Cruise. Because Joe Rogan's affected my life so much in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
And I'm not at all Gen Z. I'm like a core millennial. But I can see how my thought process is becoming more Gen Z just because of the times. And I'm sure that a lot of Gen Zs would say that about the digital stars who've survived in the long term. Like I don't care about meeting Hollywood actors. I would care a lot about meeting Nawal Ravikant and Joe Rogan and Tim
You think
Ferriss.
that'll be true for you?
It was true even in the previous generation. Let me explain how. Like in our time, it would be insanely cool to hang out with an MTV VJ.
Yeah.
It would be very cool.
Yeah.
Right? Because they were not movie stars, but they were
God,
the
Ran
other
Vijay.
cat. Ran Vijay,
Oh my
right?
God.
Like I'd give an arm and a leg to hang out with Ran Vijay.
Yeah.
So it was the other category of someone that you saw regularly.
Yeah.
You know, you'd see a movie star twice a year, but here were VJs who you'd see every day. And similarly now for people that be watching Nusair every day. So that feeling of, oh my God, I can't believe this moment is real, happens more when you see someone regularly. So I think digital folks have occupied that.
Yeah.
So it's been true for multiple generations, I think. It's not just now.
Actually, very interesting. And the kids of today, the amount of time they spend on devices, not watching movies.
The number one occupation for that people vie for today, especially kids, is influencer.
Yeah, that's the reason why we were doing this. So this show is typically around people who want to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
So whatever a 20-year-old boy or girl needs to know about entering a certain industry, we try and hit that and give them all the info that is required. Like we did one around starting a restaurant recently.
Yeah.
We did something else before that. It has become so important, even for people like me, an entrepreneur, to build distribution, because paying for distribution takes away so much of the delta you might have that a person with distribution brings organically.
Yeah.
I think we left off at, they said what they think about Prajakta, you did not. They said hardworking.
No, I said that
I'm Bill Gates.
she's representing India to the world.
But if we're speaking of hardworking, I want to mention something about Nusair. I don't know anyone who works as much.
You just said that about her.
No, I didn't say that
No,
about
no.
her. I didn't say.
I
Okay, if I have to
cannot work
judge
in the
everyone on how
way
hard
you
they work.
Who works harder, Nusair or Prajakta?
Him, for sure.
Nusair
sure.
works incredibly hard. And I think I've once asked, I won't mention what he said, but I once asked Nusair saying what drives him. And he's got like an ambition and a purpose that is intensely strong. That I think is like, I don't feel that, what Nusair feels.
I also feel like with him, he's always so aware and so on. Like I'll at least 20 times a day, I'll have moments where I'll just zone out and I'll not kind of keep up with. But anytime you meet him, and I've seen him at 5 o'clock in the morning at a breakfast buffet. I've seen him at 2 o'clock in the morning at a party with a drink. And I just feel like, I had the drink. Me, I had a drink. But every time I've had a conversation with him, it's never been dull or it's never been kind of like, it's not small talk, which I appreciate.
Each of you have a different journey from whatever profession to content creator.
Yeah.
To another profession, actor, businessman, social change maker.
No, entrepreneur.
Entrepreneur.
I'm not a social change maker.
Entrepreneur sounds cooler than businessman. Like, businessman sounds like I'm Singhania Saab. Like, Hustler, yeah.
What am I, Tanmay?
You are king, Nikhil.
Yeah, right.
You are poster boy. Bangalore poster boy.
And Ranveer?
I think I did a little bit of entrepreneurship, but I'm back to being a content creator and I want to stay here. I'm really enjoying this now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Bro, get out. Please get out. It's mentally hard.
It's horrible in some ways, but it's also beautiful in some ways because I think over the course of my 20s, my priorities have changed a lot and I'm really enjoying the work I do because it's truly not feeling like work. It does feel like spending a lot of hours creating that many podcasts and that much content. But I think I've started craving heartfelt messages and an impact on people's lives much more than I craved money and numbers and growth in my 20s. But I get to say that because I have the luxury.
Entrepreneurship is not money, and that's the biggest surprise.
I also have the luxury of having really active co-founders who are growing the businesses and allowing me to just chase the content creation game because of the distribution thing you said earlier. Which
And
is
what,
that
sorry, yeah, sorry.
the easier way of saying that is if you're more famous, you reach out to more people, you can sell your product to more people eventually, which we're seeing with all the businesses that are being built out
Yeah,
anyway.
but I'm going to say something controversial.
Sure.
At some point, you will not get more famous. At some point, you will saturate every single person in India that could potentially like you. Then you'll have this amazing and sad decline. And then the platforms want to show a different face, a different podcast, a different name. And then, what do you do then?
So, I mean, I try. I'm
Sorry,
very
are you fun at
Joe Rogan.
parties?
See, that is why I had a drink when I saw it.
I'm just saying there's a shelf life to creator life.
I think
Interesting.
so.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I think so. And I intend on exiting creator life at some point.
Yes.
But also, cumulatively, I have like a bunch of channels. We have a lot. I'm not like number dropping here, but like we have like 20 to 25 million across those channels. I have a huge amount of distribution.
Yeah.
And the thing is, we're in a country of 1.5 billion people, 1.6, I don't know. What's the number? What, 1.6 billion people.
1.3.
But we added 300 million now in the last 10 seconds. So
You never really know. You never have an exact
Your
number.
rounding error, the whole population is there.
1.5 for the sake of conversation. What is 25 million people in front of 1.5 billion people to capture? And I've got these 25 million people over the last 8 years. So even if I continue for another 20 years, I think I'll reach a really large number. But also I have an English channel and a Hindi channel. And my intentions with English are very international. My intentions with Hindi are very national.
But your problem is not the population of India, it's the social media algorithm. Eventually, they will say, I don't want to give this guy too much distribution because the best interest of YouTube is to have a new Mr. Beast every 5 years.
Which is why I'll also be aggressive on my Instagram.
Can you tell me,
And I play their game on
why that
them.
is? Why will YouTube benefit from creating a new Mr. Beast when there is one already?
Because imagine a world in which on YouTube, we only watch Mr. Beast as the +1 creator for the next 30 years. That is not actually in YouTube's best interest. You want new faces. I mean, just like Hollywood, you want
But why
new
can't there be
faces.
Mr. Beast plus plus?
Because in the content world, there is the power law in which 20% of the creators get 80% of the attention. The power law is massive here. So it's not like everybody gets 1 million views. Are you hell happy? No, it's like if one person is slightly more engaging, they'll get 10 times more than the one next to them.
except I think like it's not as sinister as if you just
Yes,
take this
sir.
clip out of context. It's like Susan Wojcicki sitting down and it's like enough of Mr. Beast now.
Neil Mohan.
Yeah, Neil Mohan. Neil Mohan. Neil, yeah. Love you, Neil. It's not as sinister as that sound. It's just what happens is that, look, all platforms at the end of the day, digital platforms are trying to grab eyeballs from other platforms. So they all eventually tweak their algorithm just a little bit. And sometimes it can take creators by surprise that, oh, X thing was working for so long
It hasn't
and now
been
it's no
working.
longer working. Some of this is a byproduct of just general audience fatigue, which is if I know I'm a type of creator who I'm a binge watch type of creator, which is people come into my shit, they're going to watch me for 3 months and they're like, I get this thing now, but I'm over it and I'm going to move on. So my attrition rate on my viewers, I look at it as, okay, this is a 3 to 4 month game. And that can take creators by surprise. And in the 10 years that 10, 12 years that I've been around, and there have been, we call them batches of creators. Like there are creators who come in batches and then, 4 years later, you got to reinvent yourself or else the next batch will take over, so on and so forth. But
So let me be the
net,
bad guy and sound the alarm to everybody listening and watching this podcast, which is, guys, you must plan and engineer your exit plan. When you make it big
Yes.
as a content creator,
100%.
because no one sees the decline because you're not getting the views. The decline is oftentimes very lonely. No one has seen the decline of like the Hollywood celebrities, but you just haven't seen them in movies.
Yeah.
But you totally forgot about them.
Yeah.
So you must always get an exit plan, which I believe should be either entrepreneurship or acting or books or whatever.
And how long do you think this journey typically is if you make it as a creator?
So I would love to hear what you guys think. I think life goes in 7-year chunks.
7 years. How did you come to this number? That's interesting.
So we were just talking about it, the 7-year itch.
We have something in Hindu culture as well.
Yeah.
Does it?
7 years of good luck, bad luck.
Interesting.
What is the average marriage in India, in the US, and the average marriage in China? It's 6.6 years.
Oh, really?
Why is that?
Is that all?
Well, in India, it's probably 70 years, the average.
Why are people still getting married then?
Nikhil, we're not going to discuss personal problems now.
Well, I was trying to say your taste buds even change. Your cells in your body change every 7 years.
What kind of taste buds?
Somebody told me this, don't quote me on this, but every cell in your body changes every 7 years.
How long did you and Aline date?
7 years!
No wonder you're so confident with the numbers.
Whose taste buds changed?
Interesting. Yeah, that seems fair.
How long have you been a content creator?
Since 2000 so I began by doing stand-up, which is technically content creation. That was 2009 is when I started doing stand-up.
So you've done 14 years.
Wow.
Yeah, 14 years. And before
different
that,
iterations, different formats.
different formats. Actually, before that, I was writing for television. So I started by writing comedy first, then I started performing comedy, then I did YouTube, and then I've started doing everything else.
I was one of the first 20,000 people who followed AIV on Facebook.
Oh, really?
For the AIV podcast.
Yeah.
Hey, but you guys should now introduce yourself because I know you guys, but people will want to know. Tanmay?
I've introduced myself on this podcast like 4 times now.
Tanmay is like the OG. He's like
I've been
the
around.
co-founder of this podcast.
He's the
He's
co-founder
been-
of like 20 companies too.
Everyone I meet in Bangalore now is like, Tanmay is my co-founder. He's taking over Bangalore.
Are you franchising the founder?
Yeah. Either co-founder or he's written their ads or he's doing some marketing work with them. Like, I'm not kidding. I'm working with Tanmay on 5 different things.
So funny.
Yeah, maybe you could have just said, I enjoy working with Tanmay, but thanks for
We're doing
framing
a
it
lot of
that
things
way.
together.
Yeah, I think I began as, I think to put it succinctly, I began as an artist and a comedian, and now I'm exploring my entrepreneurial side by doing a bunch of different things. But I think at the heart of it, I still introduce myself as primarily as a comedian. Amongst all the terms like comedian, influencer, creator, entrepreneur, I still find saying I'm a comic to be the coolest and or the most accurate version of
Do you
what I
feel
would
like in life you associate where you make the most money to your vocation?
Ooh, that's a very good question.
Ooh, super interesting question. I think, can you rephrase it? Do you think in life you want to associate yourself with the vocation that makes
If you
you
do
most amount of money?
if you do 5 things in life,
Yeah.
Yeah.
when somebody asks you what do you do, do you say where you make the most money? Because I have this question asked to me so many times and I wonder what should I say now?
No, I think for me it is, I still go back to, I still introduce myself to people who don't know me. First I say is, I'm a comedian. Which maybe not be the best idea now because people often respond with, okay, this dude is going to be funny or he's going to roast me or whatever. But I don't know, I find that to be a comedian is like an attitude of just leading life, which is,
It's a little anti-establishment.
it
right?
is
Like being
inherently a
comedian.
little anti-establishment. So I find that to be the most appealing. Even now, like someone was telling me the other day saying, Tanmay, you should document your weight loss journey. You should have a camera guy follow you and make those reels and, where you're losing weight and all that kind of stuff. And inherently, I was asking myself, saying, why have I not done that? And I feel a little cringy talking about my achievements because it's such a weird thing to do. Whereas comedians are much better off. Like, no comedian wants to get an award. Comedians want to be at the back of a room making fun of everybody who's gathered here for this thing.
I'll tell you an interesting story. I was reading this book, some book on history. Jesters in courts, comedians in history have been part of culture for hundreds of years, thousands of years. they always had a very relevant and very important role in every court. A lot that could not be spoken about openly because of societal conditioning. The jester's role was to bring it into people's subconscious while making a joke about it and getting away with it. So the very first jesters had crowns on their head. They had almost the importance in society that a king had because these guys could actually speak their mind where nobody else could.
That's because they were pardoned for speaking the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's inherently anti-establishment, so it feels coolest.
Is that why you say comedian?
Yeah, I think that's why instinctively I want to go to that because I still think of it as the coolest term to describe.
When I think of you, I think ad maker.
Now. Marketing.
Marketing.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Even I think comedian every time I think of you.
Interesting.
Writer and comedian.
What do you think?
I think elder brother.
Cut this shit, guys.
You know, the thing is, every time I see like a comment that says, Ranveer, you're just so annoyingly positive all the time, etc., etc. I'm like, you guys don't even know the real life version of him. He is
worse.
5x more annoying in person, wants to meet you, give you a hug, kiss you on the cheek.
Yeah.
It's so frustrating.
You know, when I was younger, my mum would watch Kasauti Zindagi Ki and Kyunki Saas Bhi Kabhi Bahu Thi.
Thank you.
So I have seen a few versions of Mihir, a few versions of Tulsi, Ganga, like all the characters. I remember them vaguely. Ranveer would make such a good Mihir.
Mihir? Oh my god, that is so true. That
He's
is so
like-
true. Sorry, I got too excited.
He's like the dream son-in-law.
You guys are my friends. I'm friends with all of you at this table. My friends know this about me. But for some reason, there's a playboy image that's spread that's really not me, dude. I want to get married. I want to have kids. I want to impress my mother-in-law. That's what I really want to do.
I don't see you as a playboy.
Yeah, nor do I.
My friends don't, but apparently that's become an image.
Have you
I
been
see
going to
Tanmay as the
Soho a
playboy.
lot?
You
So
felt-
I had a series of videos on my Hindi channel, which were basically about personality development. Okay, and the context for the time is this is just when Reliance Jio had come out and the internet had become affordable in India. So the Indian audiences were waking up to international standards about multiple things. Now, one of the things I figured that people wanted to learn was personality development, like learning to speak better English, learning table manners, learning etiquette, which we take for granted while we're growing up in urban India. I tried making a video called 5 personality development tips. No one clicked on it. Then I made a series of videos called Ladkiyon ko kaise pataye. Okay, which means how do you impress girls? Okay, but the content was the same. It was personality development. But that branding stayed till now. That's one of the downsides of content creation. I have so much to say about the downsides of content creation over the years that people don't understand that we're growing up in front of the world. We have to inherently...
and sometimes made to grow up.
Yeah, that too.
You know, when I see you, I think good guy at heart, vulnerable to a large extent, but persuaded by too much in life, not playboy at all. I feel like overthinking relationships, maybe yes. Overcomplicating the notion of a romantic relationship and trying to break it down and make it work and all of that, maybe yes, but not that. When I look at Tanmay, I see...
You.
When I look at Tanmay, I see somebody who is about to become a playboy.
Oh,
On the verge.
that is why he wants to document his weight loss journey also.
On the cliff, like, you know, on the other side is chaos.
2024, Tanmay.
I mean like fun chaos. But I feel like he's walking up that cliff and then he's going to go to the other side and dive.
I know Tanmay so intimately because I have... It was my first job in life before I started content creation. I was a fitness trainer, like right after college.
I'll tell you a story. Ranveer and I started speaking because Ranveer used to send me drunk texts on Facebook Messenger.
What?
He would get drunk and he would text me saying, "Bro, I just love you so much. I just want to lift weights with you, bro. I just love you too much." Like he used to be so loving that I was like, all right, just come.
This is like in my final semester of engineering college, when I knew that I'm not going to go down a traditional route. I'd got a fitness certification done. And I figured how much money there is to be made as a fitness trainer. Because my ultimate career goal in life was to set up 3 gyms in Bombay.
And guys, I really tried to get him to not get into content, to be fair to me. I tried to tell him to do the gym thing. but it didn't work out.
No. So one of the things I'm always gonna. So I'm getting romantic with my elder brother.
Oh
here.
my God.
But there's one thing I'll always owe to him. So I started training people because it was paying me really well, and I was working on this app I wanted to build. I wanted to build like an Uber for fitness coaches. You can sit at home and like call a trainer, call a yoga session, call a weight training session, whatever.
Yeah, what an awful idea.
Yeah, in retrospect, I understand it. But at that point, my only skills were fitness, marketing, and like some wild business ideas. I just wanted to get started. To train myself, I started training people actually. One of the people I trained was him. And this is when influencer marketing didn't even exist in India.
Was this before Beer Biceps?
This was just when, yeah, a little bit before. A little bit before things took off. Okay. And I literally didn't know that influencer marketing existed as a concept. We trained for like maybe like a year-ish.
No,
Little less?
6 months tops.
But those 6 months were like education for me about the wave that was going to come, which eventually led to the formation of Monk Entertainment, which led to me quitting fitness training. So thanks.
No, but that happens when you talk to Tanmay. Every time I have spent time talking to him, there's always so much insight in just not what's happening now, but what's going to happen. So a lot of the conversation today, because I was thinking about it after we left also, was what's going to happen and what the next step should be and what he wants to do. So I like the fact that he's always been someone I feel like who's always thought of the next step and take it forward. And that's helped a lot. That's been very helpful for creators like us a lot, because we didn't have that knowledge, or we didn't have the wisdom to even know where is this going and how to take this forward.
But this is an annoying habit of mine, which is when I meet other creators, I'll really like to tell them
That's
what
not
I'm
annoying
thinking.
at all.
What I'm thinking, but it's got to be with someone where you think there's a safe space where you can really talk about what you're thinking without them being like, "Kya gyan
Do you still think about AIB?
Yeah, because it shows up on my timeline every now and then, and I watch the videos and I'm like, still good, still good.
It is.
Yeah, it's still good.
I think comedians and politicians together form some of the smartest people in society.
I wanna take that and just wanna widen it a little bit. Like me and you have discussed, I think a lot of the traits that politicians need, which is effectively mass manipulation, is what creators /
totally.
influencers
100%.
need today.
We're going to have a creator president very soon.
Yeah.
We almost did with Trump, but yeah, like a YouTuber president is going to happen.
It's
very,
going to
very
happen, right? That's a good one, actually.
100%.
It's very possible.
You learn too much and you have access to too much data.
Yeah.
Like you're able to almost, I don't want, it sounds arrogant to say you can almost predict the future, but when you have that much data, you can almost predict the future.
Yeah, but you also get trained on criticism. You get trained how to block negative comments. Like you really get this like crash course. Like I feel like if I run for prime minister of any country, I feel like I'm ready. What are you gonna get? Okay, you're gonna say bad things. Okay, I already get them now. I need to make videos. Okay, we're already making the videos. We have the editors. Like you want a slogan for the campaign? We have the marketers. Like what else do you need?
Yeah.
That's it. You just need to reach 1 million people.
Do you think that could happen here in India?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think
in 10 years' time.
Is anybody on the cusp? Do you see any politicians, bar creators?
Ankit Bayyanpuria, you know him? Ram Bhai Sarya ne.
Ramram Bhai Sarya ne, the guy who 75 hard challenge.
Is he a
guy.
politician now?
He's not, but someone like that could gain that much distribution. In fact, I think there's like a mix of, like, I think newer age politicians will be a lot more digitally savvy. Like you take someone like Vivek in the US right now, Vivek Ramaswamy.
Vivek, yeah.
He's a creator. Every day there's a schedule and he goes and shoots something and there's like 5 clips of it that come out.
Yeah.
And you have to be a creator, quote unquote. If
But do you
wanna
think
make
the
it in-
voting audience is essentially
I don't think it'll
consuming
happen in India anytime soon.
How many million smartphones in India now, Nikhil?
600 million?
600 million?
700
That's your vote base, because they all are watching stuff. I think all eyeballs are going to be through the phone now, so you will have to be a creator if you want mass appeal like that.
I think it'll happen in a 30 million
But
population.
by that logic, I would have assumed more TVs in India than smartphones or access to TV.
Yeah.
So I would have thought TV actors would have become
But
politicians.
that time is changing. I mean,
right?
Didn't we
film
have,
actors
like,
became politicians.
Yeah, we had Bollywood kind of going that way.
Not truly, not in a manner where it moved the needle per se.
So I've asked some friends of mine from the world of politics this question, and by that I don't mean politicians. I mean people who work in, I don't know how you frame this, like during the elections they help with like,
Bureaucrats?
No, yeah, also bureaucrats.
Advisors, lobbyists.
But like there's a lot of work that goes behind even carrying out an election. And then from the political parties, there's a lot of work that goes into swaying the vote in one direction in different constituencies. So there is a whole other skill set involved when you're actually beginning that political career in order to win the elections, but it's a learnable skill set. And I think this content creator thing is actually the bigger skill set about like affecting masses. I think there's this YouTube channel I've followed for years. It's called Charisma on Command. It's one of my favorite YouTube channels ever. Highly recommended. It's
nice.
It's about social skills and it's about media skills. I think so much of media is communication and what people understand from the words you're saying. They analyze Trump, and I think most people know this about Trump now, but he would say very basic things repeatedly.
Yeah.
That's actually what content is in the long term. When people think of your brand as a content creator, they'll associate certain words with you. Like with me, I know it's positivity, motivation.
Beer Biceps is my favorite YouTube channel.
That's interesting. What is it with you guys? What is your narrative of you you're trying to put?
Acha, off me. Okay.
That I'm generally curious. You can't fake it. The thing is, if you're a regular creative, especially if you're going to be consistent, you can't fake it. So my strategy would be, what am I naturally curious about, and just turn that into content, because that automatically makes the most authentic version of you go out. But you can't fake who you are.
At least not for very long.
But you can control showing people how much of you. Like you can do that. Like, is that accurate, Nusayar?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Especially at podcasts. It's impossible after 1 hour of podcast. This is who you really are.
Yeah.
Like, that's why presidents you really don't go on podcasts more than 1 hour or 2 hours. It becomes, the third hour is like, that's where you make the mistakes.
That's why Nikhil shoots for like 6.
Yeah.
But tell me this, each of us, deep down, are completely different, not completely, but slightly different from what we project. Because we all are darker, right? I think any philosopher would say, Machiavelli used to say this, right? Like, a prince needs to project A, B, C, D, E, but he actually has to be something else. Like being generous, I'll take one of the examples. Like being generous for a prince or a king is not a good thing, because if you're a king and generous, people get accustomed to your generosity and they forget a world before that. And then you have to increase taxes to continue to be generous. And when you do that, they go after you. So as a king, you need to be a completely different thing, but you need to project a bunch of things, virtuous, moralistic, generosity, ritualistic, religious. These are things when you project upon a society that resonates with you, the odds of you staying in power for longer are probably higher. So when you say authentic, do you mean truly authentic? Or do you mean this mask that you're projecting, which is slightly authentic, but not authentic enough to get you to trouble?
Interesting. So I like to think of it as, if you're playing FIFA and you select a character, you have like 7 attributes show up. So the digital version of authentic would be, what are some of the attributes that are actually true, right? And those are the ones you choose to project, because that's what's the closest version of you. But you can't truly be fully authentic. That's a suicide.
That gets you into trouble.
100%, because nobody's fully clean, and unfortunately, when you gotta be public, you gotta try to be as fully
clean is the wrong word. I feel like every human has
different personalities.
A side and B side. He has the outside and he has a shadow side.
I've met hundreds of creators, and I think you guys can relate to this. You see their content and then you meet them. And actually, the thing that surprised me the most is that most creators are extroverted in the camera. They're very excited. They're very energetic. But when you meet them, they're like in the corner just by themselves, like not talking to anybody. They're like, wait, is this the same person? So I think you're right. There's still extroversion versus introversion. Most creators are actually introverted, that I realize, which is shocking. They only like talking to a camera. They don't like talking to humans. So there is a dissonance. There is a difference between what you see on YouTube and what you see in real life. And I would even argue that we're all a bit more than what we make our videos about.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
So you're saying, in summary, if there is a young wannabe creator, content creator,
Nice.
Spider-Man.
Spidey sense.
Say a young 20-year-old wannabe entrepreneur trying to build distribution through content creation. What we are saying is he has to be authentic, but to the extent that is acceptable in the societal norms that he lives under. And he still has to do one or two things to resonate with the audience.
But
There
Nikhil-
has to be authenticity, but not beyond a point.
But Nikhil, isn't that true for
Everything.
any time you are effectively speaking to an audience, be it as an entrepreneur talking to 1,000 employees in the company? I think anytime there is a major public interaction, there is a degree of performance that almost is uncontrollable. It just
Even
comes
if you're
up.
not speaking to anybody, why do people dress up?
Yeah.
Why do you put your nicest clothes? Because you want to show a different version of who you really are. Why do people put makeup on? That's human nature, I think. So we shouldn't blame it on the creators
Yeah.
for being different in front of an audience.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, no one's blaming creator. I think Nikhil is just delving into the
No,
human
I'm just
psyche
trying to
of-
figure out what works.
Yeah.
I have a compass I follow when it comes to this authenticity thought in my head. Is that the larger the quantity of content that you release, the closer you get to your actual authenticity. But
Yeah.
ideally, you shouldn't go to 100% because of the second point, which is that everything you say should be true, but not everything that's true should be said.
You got a lot of hate, right? Like recently. And I've tried to I know Ranveer for a long time, okay? I know Ranveer from a few years ago when he was younger. And I remember him interviewing me or doing a podcast. We did one together. And I was like, this guy is so good. He organically has a way to put you so at ease that you're so comfortable talking to him. And
Agreed.
and he's always been such a nice guy through and through.
Yeah.
When people were saying so much crap about him, I was like, I called him up. I do call him up and I say, don't take this to heart. Like if somebody is making the effort to look up Ranveer, search him on Twitter
Trust
and then
me,
go
he's
there and
not
write
taking
a
it to
comment.
heart.
Yeah. So
But how do you put up with that? But that's a big part of being a content creator, right?
Yeah.
I'll give you the 100% honest answer. I went through a shithole of a phase in engineering college and it just blew all the emotions out of me. And I was just left emotionless by the end of engineering college.
That's not true. You're an emotional
that's not
guy.
true. You're very emotional.
Maybe I can compartmentalize it well, but I'll tell you, there's been 2 phases where hate has affected me. The first time was when I first had a viral video, like an all-out national viral video, where I spoke about
Amir Khan.
Amir Khan,
yeah.
and Amir Khan's, Amir Khan is. He had a big fitness transformation, and at that point,
Oh, yes.
I made a video about how it's probably not completely natural.
Oh, wow.
And it was just a suggestive video, but that's the first time I blew up as a fitness content creator. The second time was fairly recently so I've been cancelled a lot on Twitter over the last, since COVID began, since
Does it
2020.
get easier?
Yeah.
What do you do? These young people we are encouraging to build distribution, to sell the brands they later create, they will get cancelled.
Yeah.
So is it best to shut up when you're getting cancelled and ignore it? What is a tip?
It's too subjective because the cancelling, sometimes it's truly your fault. And if it is, you should address it.
Yeah, but I also want to push back against the word cancel. There's no such thing as cancel. You cannot be canceled on the internet. The algorithm has no emotions. You think the algorithm is like right wing or left wing? It doesn't care. You create content, it's interesting enough, it shows it to people. So you can say you're canceled, but you come back next video and you get the same number of views, if not more. The question is, what do you do when there's pushback from the audience? And the way you should look at it is pushback is the most positive thing that can happen
Correct.
to you. As a creator, if you get canceled or pushed back, you have cracked it.
Yes.
You are finally relevant enough to hate.
It's
The
very subjective.
opposite of love isn't hate, it's indifference.
Yeah.
Exactly. The opposite of love
Is
is
that
indifference.
true in
yes,
this world?
very true.
Yeah. People, again, we're using the word cancelled because of a lack of other words to describe that situation where you're receiving a tsunami of criticism on the internet. Now it boils down to who you are subjectively on the inside as a content creator. Are you someone who will absorb all of it and feel bad about it? Or are you someone who will absorb all of it, take the feedback, and then improve your content? For me, my game has always been quantity. You need to know your own game and your own strengths as a content creator. I'm not the smartest, not the most creative creator, but I can create a huge amount of content. That amount is good enough for you to show your improvement, show that you absorb the feedback, and eventually those same people who've been pissed off with you for that one thing will say, okay, we've noticed now that you've corrected your mistakes and admitted to doing the wrong. And in some cases where if you don't agree with what you're being cancelled for, don't respond. So
people need to understand another thing is that creators are change makers. When you make a video, you are affecting change in the world. Every time you want to change something, there is resistance. If I try to change the location of this cup, there is resistance of the cup towards my change. If you try to change a country, there is resistance. That's why every politician in the world gets death threats, because they are the ones who are making the most change.
Is that something a creator should actively do? If he is anti, let me not say establishment, but anti-public opinion, he gets more traction?
You will get more, yes, you will get more traction if you are that.
So is that a hack? Like you look at
In general, extreme opinions will get more traction.
Yeah. The hope is that your
opposite of-
extreme opinion is not bad.
Why is that? Like, because the negative feedback loop soothes our psyche in some weird manner? If everybody is saying a certain restaurant is good, and if you were to go online and say this restaurant is shit, crap, don't go there, bad,
Yeah, it gets
your
a lot
comment
of
will
views.
get more.
I feel like we also love drama.
A strong opinion about anything creates a market for the antithesis of that opinion by itself. Because everyone is online trying to build a brand. One of the easiest ways to build a brand is to be contrarian. So every single strong opinion automatically creates the opposite market.
So unfortunately, in social media, every year there's roughly like 6 to 7 opportunities to go guaranteed viral. Guaranteed. Right? Any video you make about a topic, it will go viral. Unfortunately, a lot of people utilize that just to get attention. For example, Israel and Palestine. Right now, anybody make a pro-Palestine video, I guarantee you millions of views. A few years ago, there were wildfires in Australia.
Yeah.
Anybody that made any video about that, oh, there was protests in Bangladesh. Anybody, farmers protest in India. These are all opportunities for content creators to get attention, even if they don't care about the topic. And this is
Just take a contrary.
This is not just the content
They're not the
creator.
contrary.
This is everyone, Nikhil.
But this is not the
single
contrary.
person.
They're saying like, if everybody's saying, okay, we need to protest with the farmers, for example, which I didn't understand what it was about, you will get the views. You will become famous in those 6 chances every year. And I've seen people who know nothing about Indian politics or local Indian affairs, just like,
Rihanna.
that's the one. Now I remember. Rihanna was like, I'm with the Indian. I was like, what does Rihanna know about this?
Yeah. But it became cool to say that.
It became cool to say that.
Likes breed tribalism.
Yes.
Right now, has it become cool to say pro-Palestinian stuff?
It's become cool.
Why is that?
Because there's 2 billion Muslims in the world. And now, the minute you promote or you support this topic, every Muslim will want to support you as well. So you see that tribalism happen, even if people don't know the intricacies of this very complicated conflict, which I'm part of for 75 years. If things were this easy, man,
tell
it
us
would have been
more.
solved.
I want to understand. Like, I've heard every side there
We don't
is.
have enough hours in this podcast for this.
No, give us a brief history of you. You're an Arab Israeli.
So I'm Israeli Palestinian.
Explain. Where were you born? Start from the beginning. this I'm curious about, genuinely.
No, what a fascinating story.
Yeah,
right? Like,
yeah.
interesting story.
Look, when people look at Israel, they think a country for Jewish people. What they don't understand is that 20% of that country is not Jewish. And what they don't understand is when Israel came to existence, there were other people living there, and some people left, some people got kicked out, some people died, and some people stayed inside. So my ancestors are the ones who stayed under Israel. So one day we woke up, we're like, okay, we're Israeli citizens.
Okay, so there were a certain number of Jews there. There were a certain
Yeah.
number of Arabs.
Correct.
All of these were the West Bank, Gaza, Golan Heights, everything in between
Yeah.
was one country. Did it have a border?
Was
Was it a
one-
sovereign nation? Was it one?
No, there was the British Empire. It was the
After the British left.
It was a British mandate, and then before that it was the Ottomans. So it's very complicated to like actually say, oh, there was one country here, but there were actual people living there.
The land that belonged to the Palestinians, in my naive
Yes.
the little bit of information from the few books I've read,
Correct.
kind of information, the landmass that they had has been consistently going down with time.
For the average person who doesn't want to go to the details, there was 11 opportunities for peace, and they were squandered for different reasons. Sometimes it was Israel's fault, and many times it was Palestine's fault, right? But eventually, the leaders in these positions, I've come to realize it is more popular to wage a war than to wage peace. In the Middle East, more politicians died from making peace than from making war.
Explain.
I'm going to say that again. More politicians died from making peace than from making war. Sadat made peace with Israel, the Egyptian guy, Egyptian president, made peace with Israel, got assassinated. Rabin in Palestine made peace, wanted to make peace, got assassinated.
Why?
The algorithm wants war.
The algorithm wants war. I mean, eventually an extremist will come and be like, oh, this politician is going to end my struggle, which is my struggle for a whole country, and they're going to only settle for half. I'm going to kill them. While if a politician wages war, it's like, oh yeah, this politician is standing for what I want. So that's when I realized, oh my God, that's why North Korea is like, will always stay North Korea. If the president tries to do anything different, he's the first to be assassinated. So
Assassinated by
people in North Korea who want to keep the status quo.
basically the people who have gained affluence by proximity to that person, something like that.
Something like that. And eventually, in a nutshell, as much as we all want peace, peace is a very politically risky move. And that's why in the last week, no one is calling for peace because it's also risky for content creators. I made a video calling for peace a week ago and I got 100 death threats. Why did I get 100 death threats for calling for peace? Because this is the time to call for justice, for war, for getting back what we deserve and all that stuff.
The algorithm wants war, Nikhil. Like that to me encapsulates.
But the human algorithm.
Exactly.
The human algorithm wants justice.
The algorithm is very human.
Yeah.
The algorithm is basically
Fairness.
telling you what people want.
Yeah.
I love and respect and admire just Nusair being able to talk about this with this much gumption because I don't know if I'd have the courage given where, what he has been through and or what he might go through.
To bring it back to content creators, this is why we need content creators who are able to say what they really want to say, even if it costs them their life. Yes, you can create content and make money. You can create content and build a business. But the point of content creation is, as you said, social change. We must change the narrative on Muslims, on Jews, on Israel and Palestine, on India, Pakistan. I think that's why we're all here. But there's a different kind of content creator who wants to entertain, and that is also good too. So ask yourself, do you want to be a content creator to build a business, to entertain, or to educate?
How far do you think the first content creator assassination is?
Ooh, I think it probably already happened
Yeah.
to a female content creator somewhere in the world. I think it did
But
happen.
the point he made is so relevant. I feel like with a corporation disseminating news, they're bound to be biased in one form or another. I think the role of a content creator in getting their actual story out is so incredibly important for the world, right?
Yeah, it's independent thought needs to be encouraged. But I also think that, look, it's easy to say that everybody should be able to voice their opinion. But voicing your opinion is not necessarily the best thing for business, which
not good for
most,
business.
let's be honest, most content creators are in the pursuit of being brand friendly enough that they can make a living, but I also say that you want to be king first before you become a philosopher, right?
Like Shah Rukh Khan.
Like Shah Rukh said this, right? So you want to feel secure financially before you're able to voice your thought very, very publicly. And at least this is what I have maintained, that I think if I feel extremely secure financially, it actually, the thing that you're buying by making money is freedom to express.
Yes.
If I am able to divide my revenue income from what I say publicly, that's the ideal world.
Yes.
This is why I agree with Nusair when he says that if you build distribution, you want to build businesses under it. So you have an infrastructure around you that can continue to exist without being dependent on what the comment section says about you.
Such a good point. And I want to give this advice to anybody that's starting content. Brands are not your friends. Brands are not
Brands
your
are not your
friends.
friends.
Brands are the first to chicken out when you get canceled, when you get pushed back. Like I lost a couple of brand deals in the last month. I'm sure you lost brand deals in your life. We've all
you
lost
too?
brand deals
In life, yeah, lots.
because of something you said.
Prajakta, you too?
Not yet.
Have you ever been cancelled or pushed back?
Not,
No.
Not yet.
If you have to think that long, it's
Yeah.
a no.
So maybe this is the time. Say something.
Oh Lord! But I was talking to Tanmay about this, and I agreed to what he said about the whole opinion bit of it. What I was telling him, I was like, I'm so nervous about this because a lot of times I'm so unaware, and there are so many things that I'm constantly kind of educating myself because it's a huge world when you put yourself out there.
Yeah.
You know, like you are. There's a lot of expectations of comments about so many things that, especially in a country like ours, where it's such a mix of people with different likes and different kind of content that you watch and different issues that we are kind of living
It's
with.
like 15 countries in the comment section, right? Like it's like all
so mixed. So for someone like me, I'm terrible at multitasking. If I am doing one thing, I'm literally not watching anything else. I'm not reading anything else. I'm not educating myself about anything else. If I'm like, for example, right now I'm writing a book and that's all I'm doing. I'm so unaware about so many things, which is why this is a very informative conversation for me because I now have context to a lot of things, which I should have because I understand the responsibility that comes from being someone who speaks out and who has impact. So that is something that I'm constantly working on. So I feel like for someone like me, it is a tough space when it comes to having that opinion.
So if I was a brand, I would throw all my money at you.
as they have.
Because you are so safe. I can associate with you and you'll never be canceled for saying something stupid about Israel and Palestine. So that's why this is a good strategy actually to build a good business. Unfortunately, we have a big mouth. And so I've realized that now that I lost $1 million from making that video from a brand deal, community is the one thing that will stick with you no matter what you say.
Yeah.
So now I'm building only community-based businesses. That's, I think, is the
Give me
future.
an example of what you mean by community.
Community-based business is basically, I want to make my money not from a brand that gives me $100,000 to make a video, whatever. I want to make my money from selling a product to the people that follow me everywhere around the world. For example, it's Nas Travels. So we're creating this group trips product where we take you on a trip to Ecuador, to see Ecuador for a week together. So even if I get canceled by a brand, a person buying my product in Colombia does not care.
That actually makes sense.
Yeah.
Are you doing that too?
Yeah, I'm working on building businesses that can leverage the distribution that I have. And I think this is a good strategy for every creator. Especially if, I mean, a lot of creators who aren't in the entertainment section usually already have this built in. Like, you know, Sharan, for example, has already thought of it. A lot of folks who are into education have edtech to fall on. But it usually is folks in the entertainment section that kind of have to think about, well, what is the business that I'm going to build?
Yes.
Because my whole business is I'm going to play an ad in the middle of entertaining you. So one of my natural instincts was I love writing content and I've written comedy my whole life. So writing advertising, marketing, that sort of stuff came naturally to me. I moved to Bangalore. I realized that, oh, there's a big section here that could do with some of my advice. And so I started, you know, advising startups and that sort of thing. But this is super useful advice. And I think Nusair is the king of this. Nusair has done such a good job. Like, no one understands video like him. So now he produces video and it's a playbook that he taught his company. And now this company can scale for him. So tomorrow if a brand doesn't work, Nusair is still okay. And I think I truly believe that everyone should be making content because it teaches you sales across the board. And really, what do you need to be successful? You don't know
Is
how
that making content at the end of the day? Learning
Yes.
how to make sales?
Yes.
Marketing?
Yeah.
If I were hiring for marketing, if there was a kid who could take an Instagram page from 0 to 10,000, that kid is killer.
Yeah.
Killer.
Right? Most CMOs don't know how to do this. Most CMOs would not know where to spend money to make this happen. In fact, people who are in marketing jobs at brands, what they're truly doing is exercising the judgment on what's good or not. They're spending dollar on making a decision. How do you know what's good or not if you haven't done it 20 times over and seen what's good or not?
Yeah.
So I truly think most people who make content today, if you have this experience for 10 years, there is a very good marketing job at the end of it.
Yeah.
Do you think that's another pathway? Like
100%.
we thought of build influence, distribution, start a business, fashion, restaurant, SaaS, software, whatever, sell. Another part could be build, distribution, get hired.
Yes.
Build, distribution, get hired. In fact, I think, like Nusaya mentioned earlier, there's going to be a whole batch of creators who after 5 years of traction realize that this might not happen. Marketing is a super interesting and useful career that they can get into almost immediately because they know more than most marketers.
Very interesting. Before we get into the influencer parts, broadly,
We haven't gotten into it.
we're going to
I
start
thought we
with a
were
bit.
there.
There's a reason why this goes on for 5 hours.
This goes on for 5 hours.
Content creator economy. How big is it?
In 2021, I remember this number. There was this whole article about how the creator economy has added 10,000 crores to the Indian GDP. It's contributed 10,000 crores to the Indian GDP. You would be a better person to break that down. What I understand is it's created that kind of employment, that kind of influencer marketing spends, etc. We've been in the space I've been in the space for 8 years. Tanmay's been in it longer. We've constantly seen an increase in influencer marketing rates as long as you stick to the game. That's where I anticipate it's going.
But the space itself, you started at the very beginning of it.
He started at the very
like 10 years, right? This whole space is 10 years. It's a 10-year industry. And I think there's an article last week that said it is a $250 billion economy. Now, what people need to understand is that all these numbers are meaningless. Nobody cares. What they should have conviction of is that we are 1% of the way there in the creator economy. This is as new as AI.
So let's assume the size is 100 billion. That's what the global size people say. We'll assume India is lesser because the rate per clicks, how much money you can make out of views in
Low
India
ARPU.
is significantly lower, right?
Yes.
Would you say 1/5, 1/10 of
110.
US?
It's 110. Exactly 110.
I mean, my YouTube ad revenue CPMs would say even worse.
No, because I have international audience and I can segment based on country. So if I get $1,000 from American audience, I get $100 from Indian audience.
Can you break down the 10,000 crore thing? What does it mean?
I would say, I know a little bit about the influencer marketing world. I have a company called Cofluence I've invested in. I think the amount of money brands are spending on purely social media influencers, because you can extrapolate and everybody's an influencer, right? If your profession is social media influencer, like you, for example, I would assume that number is between 1,500 to 2,000 crores a year and growing by 30-40%.
2,000 crores. So effectively, you're saying that 2,000 crores is the advertising pool for influencers.
Yeah. That's how much money. I'm a
That's small,
t-shirt
no?
maker. I give Tanmay that much. I give Tanmay 50 lakhs to promote my t-shirt. I'm talking about things like that purely. I'm not talking
But that's
about...
10% of the economy.
Yeah.
That's
10%.
There's another 90%, which is community commerce. Creators making money from their followers.
That's even smaller.
Without needing a... Well, I think it's going to get much bigger than brands.
But today, I don't think it's very big.
But there's
India.
But in India, maybe. But there's actually because in India, maybe the audience does not buy, so you rely a lot on brands. Maybe that's a culture here in India. But in America, you're making much more money from your community than you're making from a brand.
Everything that happens in America always takes 5 years to get to India. This
Yeah.
has been the one out and out
Yes.
golden lesson I've learned
Yes.
in my content creation career.
Not true necessarily in this case. Give me a second. Okay, give me 30 seconds.
Continue your thought.
It happens in every industry to a large degree, but in media, I've noticed that this happens very, very heavily.
No. This is, we're talking cultural trends wise, but the simple fact is, India is a DAU farm of the world. And when you're a low ARPU country, let me just explain that, what I mean by low
What
ARPU.
does DAU farm as
Yeah,
well?
DAU means daily active user farm of the world. What this means is that Netflix will launch in India, but Netflix makes the most amount of money per subscriber around the world. But for their investors, they're like, we have 20 million customers, 30 million customers from India. So that looks impressive on a global earnings call, right? This is why I think we're far away from a US market, and it's not just 5 years away, because the degree to which you can monetize your audience is directly related to how affluent your audience is. And India, unfortunately, is a low ARPU country. We are a developing
What is
economy.
ARPU?
ARPU is revenue per user.
Got it.
So how much money can you extract from per user? This is true across platforms, true across creators.
Yeah.
Facebook Facebook ARPU in India is way lower, just like Snapchat, just like Netflix, all of that. So no, India is not just 5 years away. It's when the whole economy prospers enough.
No. That is the pessimistic view. The optimistic view, let's all be optimistic. If people here want to become creators, is that in India, people maybe are not used to buying something on the internet that is digital, but they are used to spending a lot of money on
online.
physical experiences. For example, Nas Summit tomorrow, 1,000 tickets sold, $77 per ticket. I just made $77,000 from India audience, purely India audience, right? So there is...
Yeah, it depends on what they would spend at. Like,
Yes, what's the product?
yeah, India spends very highly on
Experiences.
Physical experiences.
hopium products, I would say. We spend very highly on education.
Yes.
What is hopium?
Products that give you hope for a state that
earnings.
you wanna be in. So we do. I mean, finfluencers make so much money,
much money indeed.
right? Financial products will make a lot of money. In India, products that either save you money, or make you more money will make a lot of money. Products that save you time don't necessarily make that much money.
Yes.
Which is why tech courses will do really well in India. Products that give you higher status, because higher status leads to higher mating success, those make a lot more
Give
money.
me an example.
Cred?
Cred, for example. Okay, higher status is we spend a lot of money on fancy weddings, wedding wear, right? That's a higher status thing. We are less likely to use, like, we want discounts on our Uber rides because we don't care so much about
Yeah.
saving 20 minutes.
So India has a lot of money. It's
Yeah.
just people think a product that does well in America will do well in India, but actually it needs to be Indianified almost. A different
Correct.
product needs to be sold here.
Yeah. I mean, it's always been the compass I've followed in terms of deciding where I want to take my content, as well as the next business moves. Because as content creators, we don't have reference points in India. Like the reference point I'm using as a content creator in India, it used to be like at the start of my career. Now it's a little bit of Baba Ramdev because he's the original influencer of this country.
Interesting.
He influenced Baba to give NAS
I know.
content. Have you heard of Baba Ramdev?
Yeah, of course.
You've heard of his brand Patanjali?
I'm like 20% Indian at this point. Like I know a lot of the references.
Naseshwar.
That I don't understand.
Yeah. But, I mean, Patanjali was merch. It was a merch launch. Yeah.
You earn trust over a very long period of time.
Have you tried selling merch?
For me, my merch is digital. It's my meditation app called Level Supermind.
Digital, right? So not physical. By the way, actually, Prajakta, when we met in Davos, you were wearing a sweater. And the sweater was so interesting that she put in a picture, got so many likes that the sweater ended up selling out at this
Yeah, I
shop.
should have worn my merch.
should
That
have-
was someone else's brand.
So there is money in merch in India, is there?
Yeah.
Not
But
in
not-
merch necessarily.
But not
Yeah.
many people who have started influencer-led brands have done well.
Yeah.
I would say the failure rate is 80-90%.
Yeah. Okay, I'll tell you what I learned off of this meditation app. This is going to be a slightly long answer, okay? Basically, we got a huge boost when the app launched. And then it started trailing off a little bit. Long story short, I figured that now there's too much distribution built out. This is in 2021. We're doing content is going well, we're getting growth, but it's time to create a product at this point. I always wanted to do something in the health space. Eventually, we created an app with both physical fitness as well as what I term as mental fitness, which was a bunch of guided meditations, guided sleep stories, etc. Always wanted to bootstrap it. When we launched, we got a massive response thanks to Beer Biceps distribution. And it gradually started declining a little bit over time, even if we spoke about it in every episode. What I decided to do at that stage was we went from 2 episodes a week to 4 episodes a week. Now, for some reason, this hacked the YouTube algorithm and my stuff started getting shown not just to,
People who subscribe to you.
but way more. I don't know what happened.
Short video.
Is that still as relevant? How many times you post exponentially takes up your audience?
It depends on the content. I think I also caught the podcast trend in the country. So instead of my subscriber rate, my monthly subscriber rate should have just doubled, but I think it went something like 4 times.
Yeah, it went vertically. Just want to double click on this a little bit, right? So some formats lend itself to higher top of funnel, right? For example, Dhruv Rathi, right? Dhruv effectively is a modern day news channel,
Yeah.
right? So news dominate, whatever is dominating the news. If
Do you
Dhruv
think
makes
he's
a video,
doing so much? He's doing so well because he's taking, like we discussed earlier, anti-narrative.
I don't
of-
think it's the case with Dhruv.
Yeah, I don't think-
it's
I
with
don't-
other
yeah.
people, but not with Dhruv.
Dhruv is not extreme as much as just an explainer of what
Yeah.
he thinks is going
I think Dhruv is
on.
more like a Vox.
Yeah, so it's similarly in Ranveer's case, Ranveer's guests bring in newer audiences each time, and Ranveer is able to retain some of them who end up subscribing. They're like, I want to see more of Ranveer on my timeline because he interviews a lot of popular guests.
So if I were new, if I were a 20-year-old boy starting something out to build distribution, how often should I post? What duration works today? What is the path of least resistance to
Yeah.
get distribution?
So I think a lot of people in this table make long videos, including you. And I don't know who the hell is still watching this video. You must have a lot of time on your life. Okay? But the only and the best way to get distribution today is to make YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, Facebook Reels that are 59 seconds exactly, which is the 1 minute guy. And I think short content gets you reach. And after you get the reach, you should go deep by creating the podcast. But you shouldn't start by creating a podcast because you've had fame from other places. That's why your podcast works. But if there's a nobody now starting a podcast, unfortunately, that's gonna kill their dreams.
Also, social media changes extremely.
Do you guys
rapidly.
agree with what he said?
Social media changes literally every 6 months. But for the last year or so, a good beginning has been exactly what Nas said.
So you make short videos, 1 minute, 2 minute, 3 minute to begin with?
It's easier to get more top of funnel through short video. I agree. But the holy grail is long form.
Yes.
That's the holy grail. I want to ask Prajakta actually. Prajakta has done both. Like she's prolific at short video now, but you began with YouTube. Like what do you think? Like because you've done both and you now do a lot of the short video stuff.
I was actually forced to go to short video when the lockdown started because that is what everybody was doing. And that was, I think, the only time as a creator where I felt like I didn't have an option because it had reached a point where I felt like nobody's watching it. Nobody has the patience for it. Nobody wants to spend any more time. So that's how it started, and I did not expect to like it. I was very resistant to short form content. I was very adamant, almost stubborn with saying, you know what, I don't care if the whole world's going to make short form content. I'm going to stick to.
Wow.
I remember talking to Neil when they kind of took funding off YouTube Originals. I was so upset.
Yeah.
But I was like, I was coming to you with pitches. I had things I've been working on. I wanted to pitch Originals to you, and you've taken funding off because you're pushing shorts. And that broke my heart. But
Yep.
then I started having fun with it because then you kind of see it's nice to go from a point of understanding that if I'm making a 20-minute video and my analytics tell me that I lost a huge chunk of my audience at 7 seconds, and then going and watching like a 20-second video and seeing that, oh my God, there's that many replays and shares happening. So it's affirmative, but like he said, the holy grail.
Holy grail is long form.
Also,
form.
with long form, you're truly building community because you're developing trust because they're getting to know your heart and not just your vision.
Yes, but let me disagree here a little bit. This is like trying to swim against the tide.
Yeah.
You must ask
Yeah,
yourself,
yeah.
where is the tide going? If you swim against the tide, you can do this and you're still in the same location, okay? Always go with the winds. So what is the winds? It's basically what does the C-level leaders at social media platforms say? You should read the earnings report. You should read the quarterly calls of Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. And from listening to the CEOs of the social medias, you can guess where the tides are going to go because these guys control the tides.
And
They're
where
tide makers.
where are they going according to?
So 7 years ago, I was following Mark Zuckerberg's reports, right? I was following the quarterly earnings. Mark Zuckerberg 7 years ago said, pictures are great, but I see a future where in the future where 90% of Facebook is going to be video. Bam, let's go.
Boom.
Video, let's go, right? So no pictures, not a single picture of Nas Daily, right? What I'm trying to say is the tide makers and the fortune makers are actually humans living in Silicon Valley and in China. listen to what they say, and then do exactly what
And
they say.
what are they saying today?
So right now, the TikTok guy is saying shopping on TikTok is going to be big and live on TikTok is going to be big. So I would probably try that. The people at YouTube are saying, no more originals. YouTube Shorts is going to be the future. So I would index on that. Facebook or Instagram is saying, what are they saying? They didn't even say anything these days. Instagram is like
Metaverse. They're saying metaverse.
Oh, they say metaverse, right? So I would keep my eyes open. Like if I was starting a 7-year career now, I would probably want to start as like AI creator or a metaverse creator, because in 6 years, you are going to be at the right place at the right time.
Is that a lot more expensive to create content on the metaverse?
Right now, I mean,
No, it's just a camera.
It's not expensive. It's just I think 99% of the people haven't even bought Quest 3
Can't
yet.
watch
Just
it.
to, yeah,
Yeah.
they
It's a
they
waste
haven't
of time.
tested it out.
There's
Like
Time is
2
very
million
valuable.
people in the world that can watch.
Like the
So what we're saying in summary is
Okay.
make shorts, build distribution, then do long form.
I want to add something experiential here, based on my experience selling this meditation app. Okay, we get about 3 to 4 million views on any short form video that I create, which is usually emotional. It
Yeah.
caters to the mental health oriented audience to whom my app is also catered to. I'm trying to hit the mark. I reach that audience for sure because those reels get insane engagement. Okay, I do podcasts like that as well. We always get more sales from the podcasts.
Wow.
Like almost, we get almost no sales from Instagram.
Yeah, I want to just
Yes.
double click on this, Nikhil,
That's
because it's not as black and white as what Nusayr is saying. While I fundamentally agree with him, think about how you're consuming short form content, right? You are actually scrolling and something comes across, and you see it, and that counts as a view to that. So
Yeah.
when Ranveer gets 4 million views on a short, probably 1 million of them may be people who actively subscribe to Ranveer, whereas the rest of them are just going to watch him
Yes.
for 30 seconds and move on. Which is why affinity to a creator when they watch you for 9 minutes straight or 10 minutes straight is a lot higher, which is why movement or click-through ratio on links that you provide will be a lot higher on long form. So short video is a great way to get traction,
discovered.
And I would bet on, like Dhoni said this recently, right? And Nusayr said this a bit before, saying that you don't want to kill your dreams by attempting something so audacious by swimming against the tide. What you really want is to start feeling confident as a creator early on in your career,
Yes.
which is why short form video is
Yes.
effective for you to start. That is why.
Yes, correct. There's different phases in your life. One is you're a nobody. Everybody starts at a nobody. We were all nobodies 10 years ago, correct? So when you're a nobody, your number one goal is to be discovered. You get discovered through shorts. Then your number one goal is to build a community, so you make longs. Then your number one goal is to build a business, so you build a community, build a business.
The number one goal is to start feeling confident that you can be a creator. Like Dhoni said,
Yeah.
that you want to bet on a guy who's confident about himself than necessarily someone who's more talented. Because you can be very talented but be underconfident, but you're not going to be effective.
Yeah.
So as a creator, I would push for try and get that one video to pop so you feel like you can do this, because
And
nothing
how?
is as
The harsh truth is that this industry, especially when it comes to money, is heavily dependent on the views you're generating. Be it long form or short form, just figure out how to get the views first and
Yes.
foremost.
Yeah.
Then you can like go through the nooks and crannies of it.
I also feel like when you start off, it takes some time as a newer creator to grasp the idea that it's a very long game.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's not something that's going to start, give you overnight virality, and then your life's set and you're going to have businesses and a community and stuff like that. So I feel like if you're starting off, what they're saying is important is because for you personally, it's extremely important for you to feel like you have it in you to keep going, to reach a point where you will be able to make a community.
People kind of talk about the downsides of content creation. They don't know the true picture of it. And in its core, it's a chef's job. You're serving food constantly. And people will forget you after like a month of you releasing a
Okay,
great
so just to summarize, we first learned that every 7 years, typically a creator life changes and you have to use that time to monetize, build something which is outside of creation. We spoke about short form is a good way to build traction initially before
Yes.
moving on to long form.
Yeah.
Listen to what the CEO of TikTok, Facebook, Twitter are saying.
100%.
Hear their earning calls and try to figure out where they might be going to next. Now, what are the low-hanging fruits? Like he also said, Nas said at some point that these 6 opportunities in a year, where by taking the contrarian opinion, you could have a hack to building distribution. I'm not suggesting anyone should do it, but that's one hack. Now, I'm starting today. My name is Nikhil. I'm 20 years old. I want to build a business selling t-shirts in 2 years. I don't want to go the traditional route of performance marketing because that skews up my numbers and I'll never make money that way. I need to build distribution to sell merch. What kind of content do I start creating today? Low hanging fruit.
Yeah, I want to go first here. I think at the heart of either long form or short form is viewer retention. At the heart of it. Even if it's short form, the videos that perform the best are ones which has highest viewer retention, right? Average view duration on that short has to be high. And if you notice, every major trend on Instagram, every major filter, every trend that comes around is basically hinging on what happens, what's the reveal at the end, right? Be it the thing on the top of your head saying, what movie star are you? It goes around for a bit and at the end of it, you'll get the answer. Why is it like that? Because it's trying to get you to watch towards the end. So even with short form, like stuff like three things to keep an eye on when you're making your wardrobe. Number 3, number 2, number 1. A small hack, for example, you people want to stick to number 1 and that's how you get people to watch till the end. Number 1 will blow your mind. That's how people begin videos.
Yeah.
At the heart of it, get people to watch till the end. That's going to get
that
more
really
traction.
works.
So that's the format, right? The question you need to ask yourself is, when it comes to the content, what do I have access to that nobody else in the world has access to? That's the question. What do I know better than anybody around my friends?
Yes.
What is my unique access, right? So
What is that answer for you?
So for me, right, I was like, okay, I'm a software engineer, but a lot of my friends have access to like engineering. Actually, what I have access to is the world. I have access to Kenya. I have access to Ethiopia because I have money to travel. I have a good passport. I have access to the world, while a lot of people in India or a lot of people in Pakistan, a lot of people in my hometown country don't have access to the world. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go show you Ethiopia. And so my unique value to you is it's not my beauty, it's not my looks, it's I'm gonna show you the world. I'm gonna make you travel with me for free while you're pooping in the bathroom and I'm showing you Ethiopia for 1 minute. So that's access. So the question is, what is access you have access that nobody has access to?
What makes you unique?
What makes you unique is a comedic sense.
Comedic sense. So
You know how to make people laugh.
So I take that to any genre that I go to naturally.
Exactly.
Another thing I just want to add to what Nuzair said, while what you have, Andrew Huberman is a great example. He has access to neurological data from Harvard.
Health data.
Yeah, so he's able to talk about that. You're special in that one thing that everybody cares about. The second aspect is, do people care about
You'd
what
be
you have access to?
surprised that everybody in the world cares about what you have access to.
Yeah.
Even t-shirt manufacturing, you could get millions of views if you make a good piece of content on how a t-shirt is made.
You can. But as a long-term plan, it's what you have access to and what the world cares about. That's your
marriage of the two, exactly.
That's the marriage.
Exactly.
And the second thing I want to add there is, like, this is great. What Nuzair said is true, but how you make your shit and how scalable it is determines how tired you get over a 10-year timeline, right? So in my case, I'm lucky that I'm able to make humor out of anything. So I'm able to jump genres and I'm able to scale a lot more easily. Where it's harder to scale when you're traveling 300
That's
days
why
of
I
the year.
stopped after 7 years.
Yeah.
Because you can't travel to Ethiopia anymore. I'm tired. You know?
Yeah. And I can't keep watching Ethiopia while I'm pooping.
Prajakta, what do you have access to?
I think for me, and it took me some time to realize that, because like when I started making content, I didn't make it with any sort of plan. It wasn't conscious. I didn't know what I was doing. It took me a very long time to figure out what my place as a creator was. I was very, very inspired by what Lily was doing at that time. So that was, again, a route that was set for a female content creator starting off in comedy. Doing what AIB was doing was a route that was set. I understood that, I can make like songs and I can make sketches and stuff like that. So a lot of it, and is why I said in the beginning, is it was so important for our creator journey to have a player like AIB ahead of us, was because a lot of it was really just adapting as I kept going, because I was just winging it for a very, very long time. I was making shit up as I was going. If you asked me where do I see myself, like if you asked me 5 years ago where I saw myself, I had no clue. I didn't also expect the economy to be what it is.
And today, what do you have access to?
I think right now, I've come to realize that what I have access to is that I can tell really mundane stories and make it interesting.
How?
Through sketches, through the storytelling that I'm doing right now, through even if it's a story of me working out, it's mundane.
Would you put sketches in the depiction category. If you're able to depict something in an artistic manner, that's a USP for a
Yeah, I think storytelling for me. Yeah.
Commentary on
Yeah.
society. is
And
access.
what makes you work? Because that's not really access in a manner, right? Why is
But
most
she has access of just talent to perform
Yeah.
in multiple ways. She can act, she can dance.
I write.
Yeah,
I
she
quite
can
like-
write.
And for the person watching this, you can tell if you have access to that or not based on how entertained you keep your 5 friends.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming before this.
But I only have 5, so you got that right.
But I'm assuming before you started content, you were like the life of your
Yeah,
5 friends,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So that is your first signal that there's something there. Like when I started Facebook as a normal person, my Facebook status update was getting 60 likes, and my roommate's Facebook status update was getting 6 likes. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
if I am 10 times better than my roommate at telling a story, there's something there. So if somebody's watching this and they're the life of the party of their friends,
Yeah.
you can have 10 million
Yeah,
followers.
and I also feel like it gets very confusing when you start off because it's a very singular journey.
Yeah.
When you start off, you are kind of figuring everything out for yourself in a way that also 8 years ago, nobody knew where this was going, unless I'm sure Tanmay knew.
What? With that short video, I had
Not
no
video,
idea.
but like I just in my head, I just feel like you just knew more than I knew back when I started, and because you were doing that already. But I just feel like it is such a, it can get very क्या बोलते हैं उसको?
Pendulum.
Pendulum.
नहीं जब अकेले हो जाते हो एकदम से कि you are in your
Isolated.
isolating. It can
Yeah.
get very very isolating for you. So even if you don't exactly know how to pinpoint what you have access to, I still feel like it's still not a bad point to start.
Yeah.
I universally agree with the thought that everyone must try creating
Yeah.
online.
Yeah. And that gets me to my next
100%.
point, which is we used to live in a world before, this is, I think Gary Vee said this before, where it's like you're either a doctor or a lawyer. Choose. 20 years ago, choose. You're a teacher, a doctor, or a lawyer. I said either.
Yeah.
Today, we live in the and economy,
Yes.
right? This is not my idea, to be clear. The and. You today, you can be a doctor and a teacher.
Yeah.
You can be a lawyer and a creator. And actually, creator is the most and job in the world.
Yes.
You can literally be teacher, waiter.
Seen this play out
and
in
it
so
adds
many
a
people.
lot of
And the
value to
creator.
your other professions.
Exactly.
100%.
So now we're saying not just entrepreneurs, but even
Everyone.
professionals.
Everyone.
It's a way for doctors, engineers, everybody to find clients.
Right from the guy scooping out ice
distribution.
cream at Baskin Robbins
Yeah.
Totally.
to
I feel like
Or
that's
president.
already happening,
or
no?
future president. Yeah.
I feel
What
like
is your unique access today?
I mean, Ranveer started off with health, right? Like he had access
But you also
to
access
knowledge
to like
about health.
interesting humans.
I've had like 7 reinventions over an 8-year career. So I don't have an exact answer, but according to me, one is the size of my country's population. That's one unique thing I have.
What? How do you have access to that?
I can talk in Hindi, you can't.
Well,
Oh, very macro. Fair point.
Wait until you'll see my Hindi.
No, I'll tell you what. I don't
ये
know.
इथियोपिया है और हम वहाँ आज इस माउंटेन पे खड़े हैं.
There's a very different pulse in India, like of the Indian audiences. So
Okay, what else
content
you
for
have
them is
access to?
very different as compared to content for English audiences. And I owe it to this human here who suggested that I begin Hindi content in the first place. That's one. The second is I think as a content creator, you have to see your own human side also. What are you good at as a human being? I'm an energetic person, so I think stamina, and that's just helped because I truly believe in content. It's about quantity over quality after a point. So you figure out how to up your quality. and then-
Whoa, really?
Yeah.
After a point, quantity over quality?
Yeah, for me.
Interesting.
So
believe
always,
that.
okay,
I
that's a
believe that.
great tip. So whenever you begin, even if you're doing one every 6 months, quality hits.
No. When you begin, it's only quantity game.
He's saying quality first, then quantity.
You say quality first?
I had to learn something. At least, see, I'm talking based on my own trajectory. I learned how to create videos.
Well, you gotta have some quality.
No, zero quality. You should have zero quality at the beginning. Have you seen day one Nas Daily? It's horrible. It's
Yeah,
cringe.
yeah.
I think that's how all of us feel about all our content, but just the ability to frame.
Nikhil,
Just the-
to double click on that, the more quantity you output, the better your quality gets if you're really paying attention.
Yeah,
So
and,
quantity helps.
The third strong thing that's worked for me, honestly, it's a bit of a cliched answer, but engineering college. Because it just taught me how to think of the world as machines. It taught me how to reverse engineer things, and now I can learn anything faster than normal.
Yeah, but really now, the reason I follow you is because you have access to India's most interesting humans in
That's
which
now, yeah.
the normal
That's
person
now.
cannot get
That's
access
access
to.
for you today.
That's
access for you today.
But actually, people should ask themselves, whoever's watching this, ask yourself, what kind of weapon are you? Are you a machine gun or are you a sniper?
Sniper.
How'd you know?
Wow.
I say the same thing.
We are brothers from another mother.
We've done too many panels, brother.
A machine gun is somebody that say, if I want to kill the enemy, we should get a viral video. I shoot 500 bullets and hope something sticks and hits the enemy.
Okay, another digression here.
Wait, this is an important idea.
Yeah.
A sniper. The sniper has one bullet and gets a headshot.
Right.
So a sniper in this case is somebody who goes and makes a Netflix documentary, waits 3 years, puts it on Netflix, becomes big. Jewish matchmaking or Indian matchmaking. That's sniper creator.
Is that a thing? Jewish matchmaking?
Yeah, that's everything. That's a sniper creator. Whoever made that, that's a sniper. One episode, I'm famous around the world. A machine gun is 1,000 videos in 1,000 days, 1,000 skits, 1,000 podcasts. We're all machine guns.
AIB was sniper. Once a month, twice a month, boom.
You're a
It hits.
sniper.
You're
We're
a
all
sniper.
machine guns.
You come once a week. I'm a machine gun now, which is I'm outputting 9-10 videos a month.
Okay, so one digression I wanted to ask you guys. Psychology states that kids born after the year 94 are very different from us. So they don't get driving licenses as much. People who are above the age of 18 and are applicable to get a license are not applying as much. They don't buy homes as
Uber.
much. They don't go
They are
on
not
dates.
buying homes as much?
No.
They don't go on dates as often. And they spend a lot of time on their devices. So if the new content creators of today, because the younger generation initially adopts content that becomes cool, if somebody is starting in the content world today, what does he build to cater to this generation? This is a very coddled generation, right? They're more about rights, less about contribution. These are people born in a post 9/11 world where they grew up not knowing what was going on. They know about rights.
post-truth world now
Yeah,
also.
they've had anti-bullying in school. They've not been allowed to go out and play. Like, you remember when we were kids, like your parents would tell you come home by 9 p.m., right?
Correct.
Like right now, that
It's
doesn't
the
happen
reverse.
anymore. Right now, the kids are totally tracked. They have to tell their parents what they're doing at every point of time. So this will change the consumers of the content that is getting created today. And the people who build from now on have to bear this generation in
I mean,
mind.
short video is a direct result of this. It's lower attention spans, right?
Is that all?
I'd break that down a little further. The one human need that stays constant is storytelling. The second human need that stays constant that's not spoken about is feeling something extremely emotional, something that piques your emotion a lot. And emotion could also be just laughing really hard on Tanmay's reaction videos. Something that piques your emotion heavily. Also, this generation, like the younger people that I have come across, the ones that work with me, I've seen generally have more problems dealing with loneliness than people our age did. It says that there is some kind of vacuum there, which I've seen gets filled with emotional content and really raw content, which is also why I think podcasts are taking off in the country. People want realism. There's a fantastic podcast called Untriggered. It's something like this, but more like chill. Like,
Gen Z.
Yeah, more Gen Z. Blowing up. Just consistently catering to the lonely urban Indian. Because when people listen to it, they feel like, hey, I'm hanging out with my friends.
But if
I
these
have-
kids have a lot more time on their devices, I'm saying they're not going out and playing because they're on their devices so much more. Strangely enough, another data point here is their necessity or how they perceive work is 20% lesser than our generation. Like when we were at their age, we were thinking work.
They prioritize healing a lot more.
And they are a lot more...
Healing from what?
From
You
your
haven't
own...
been injured yet by life to be healed.
No, but the strange thing is when you tell someone, when you teach a kid that if Tanmay says something about me, I can let it offend me so much, even though he's expressing his point of view, that I can have mental trauma because of it and then I can be depressed or one of 100 different things.
Why me as an example? Is all I was wondering.
So I actually kind of have a different opinion.
Yeah.
I actually don't think today's young kids are like this, like hurt and emotion and all that stuff. I don't think that actually, I feel like they're much
Do
stronger.
you think they get offended a lot?
No, I just think offended people have a bigger voice. I don't think the number of offended people are
I wouldn't
actually...
agree with that. I feel like the ecosystem has changed in such a manner that people take offense not just to what is said to them, people take offense to what is happening around them. And it affects them in a significantly deeper manner than it did my generation.
And people hold on to pain a lot longer.
Because they've been taught and conditioned to believe, this generation that I'm talking about, that A, it is right to get offended, B, it is good to, demand for your rights, but nobody has ever asked them that what is your contribution to anything for which you're demanding the rights that you expect you should have.
So I'm looking at the glass, I think, half full.
And I'm looking
and
at
you're
it
looking
half
at it like
empty.
right here.
Yeah.
I think that behavior actually does affect change. You think naturally we're just gonna have a nice country? No, it comes from a lot of hard disagreements and fights.
But what are you disagreeing about? You're disagreeing about things like, I don't like this city, I don't like this, I don't like
Right,
that,
right. When
based on
people,
my expectations
when
of
enough
things.
people come out and say, I don't like the traffic in Bangalore, what's gonna happen? That's gonna create some pressure on the city council to fix traffic.
The question I'm also saying, you have a point there, but the point I'm trying to make is this person who is complaining about the traffic in Bangalore has become the kind of person that you put him in any ecosystem will spend a lot of time complaining.
Nikhil, because
Fair.
the path to likes has the least resistance today than it did earlier. Earlier, the path to getting likes was through literally getting a fancier job, was to literally you would want likes in the domains that were accessible to you. Now, just that in today's world, you're able to get quicker dopamine hits by saying X, Y, and Z things. As someone once said, saying you get likes if you're pretty, witty, or outragey. These are the three quickest paths to like. So I don't blame the generation for being that way, because that's the quickest path to like.
Also, I feel like a lot of the young people, like he said right now, because of the loneliness that they're kind of going through a lot more than we did, are looking for companionship in causes. I remember a time, and I hate to put it like that, but I remember a time where it was cool to talk about depression.
Now is that time.
When it started, it was cool to talk about bullying. There came a time where one person would speak up about it and then everybody would speak up about it. And it became, the term started getting used so loosely.
Yeah.
That we
Therapy
reached a
speak
point,
became common.
The sensitivity from it kind of went away. So I feel like at this point, a lot of our young audiences are also looking for these groups and these communities.
Prajakta, that is my point. I'm not saying this trend is a good thing or a bad thing. I'm saying as a content creator beginning today, what is a hack to hit this market? And get them to follow you.
We have to make a distinction between complaining about something and feeling like a victim about something. Feeling like a victim, I agree with you. No one should feel like a victim. I'm a victim, help me, help me. For example, traffic in Bangalore, okay? You can either say, because of the traffic in Bangalore, my mental health is killing me and then I cannot show up to work. That's a victim mentality, right? But you could also be a change maker mentality and say, I don't like the traffic in Bangalore because of this and this and this and this.
I agree with you. I'm talking about the victims.
So maybe we should be
that's
victims.
That's
Yes.
happening a lot. Now I'm
That's
wondering.
because, Nikhil, there's likes in victimhood. There's
Now I'm
likes in
wondering-
victimhood. There's
Yes,
likes in
correct.
victimhood.
No, but the real question here at the bottom of this is what content do you build to hit this market? Because we know this market is there.
But we shouldn't
And this
make
is-
content to hit this market.
No, but get them to resonate with you.
But people are. People are.
Like what?
Outraging and being victim gets likes.
So
I'll
is
give you
that
a very 2023 answer. And this answer would have been different last year and the year before that. Right now, the key to growth is Instagram Reels. What's working on Instagram Reels is emotional content. What's working within emotional content is well-made content. So the bottom line here is that the skill that should be focused on now is how you can become a better video content creator. How can it be better looking? How can you tell a story in a short amount of time? And at the end of your reel, do you leave someone feeling like they want more from you or from the
But
story?
if you want to grow a base on LinkedIn or Twitter, you don't need to necessarily make video.
Yeah.
But if you're outraging,
No, but
you're probably
do you
gonna
think
get
that's
there.
the way to resonate with this marketplace?
If I'm on social media, I'm seeing the best of other people's lives. Would I not automatically feel like I deserve that too?
Yes, you would.
Of course you would. Of
Very
course you
natural.
would. Let me give you an interesting anecdote, okay? And I'm pretty sure it will check out statistically. The attrition.
sure?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure of this. Like if someone does this. The attrition rate amongst talent management companies is at its highest it's ever been. All right? Why is that?
Can you explain what attrition rate is?
I'll explain. Attrition rate is when people leave a company, which is the employees churn. Now, you ask Viraj from Monkey, you ask Vijay from Collective. Why is that? Because 20 years ago, if I was managing talent, for example, if I was managing A.R. Rahman, right? Would there be that much envy for A.R. Rahman as a manager? I'd look at A.R. Rahman make 3 crore rupees per show. I would not have that much envy. But today, if I'm managing a creator who makes short video or makes sketches on Instagram, and this person is taking 10 lakhs per reel, how high do you think that envy is? It's insanely high, right? That is why attrition rate is going higher and higher, because more managers are managing talent who are doing things that seem a lot more accessible and doable.
How do you utilize that? If you're a content creator and you know the generation you're creating for is a bit more entitled, is a bit more victimized,
is a bit more they are alluded by flashy life. We already do this. Why does flexing on the internet get more likes?
Yeah. Sales 101, you solve for their problems, which is this.
I'll define who I want to solve the problem for. I am a 20-year-old girl in Bangalore who is going to college, not really interested in education that much, but going because my parents have drawn that path for me. I have 50,000 rupees a month of income I'm earning from some side thing that I'm doing. I have 20,000 rupees to spend. I have 4 hours a day to consume content. I spend 7 hours a day on my cell phone doing ABC. This is a different category of people than 5, 10, 15, 20 years ago. What kind of content will resonate with this crowd? Nuanced, different from 10 years ago.
I think every creator will have a different answer, firstly. I'll tell you my answer.
Yeah.
These problems are happening with younger people because there's overthinking. You solve for their overthinking.
How?
By talking about your own story as a creator. This is also personal branding. That I was also at this stage, this is what I did and this is the solution I had. That's something that works for me a lot. The second thing that I've noticed people want a lot, I don't know whether it's an Indian thing or not, Nas, please chip in. People are extremely hungry for knowledge and unbiased media, like raw media. So you throw a bomb of rawness through the podcast, and in terms of this overthinking and these emotional problems, that's where I have my Instagram game.
But is there only one kind of content that they want to consume?
No. There'll be a bunch of options. I want you guys to tell me what these
This girl, so we're looking at this girl as a glass, not half empty. Empty. We're looking at this girl as somebody who wants to feel entitled, who wants to has terrible opinions. This girl, actually what she really wants, she wants to travel to 50 countries around the world before she's age 30. She wants to be a millionaire before she's 30.
Okay.
She doesn't want to give forced arranged
Go
marriage.
one level deeper. Why does she want to travel?
Because it's a human basic desire to be free and experience the world.
Is it validation amongst her peer group
Yes.
a bit more than it was 10 years ago?
No, I think
and that's why travel works
I think
today?
it's a basic human desire. I don't think it's validation. I don't think it's like I want to travel just to tell my friends I traveled. I think that's a minority. I think independently everybody wants
I think data
experiences.
would prove otherwise, that because of social media and posting
People wanna
pics
travel
when you
more.
travel, you travel so much more. Like we are going after the nuance now. We are
This is
saying,
very
what
Indian
can you
thing.
sell to that girl?
Very Indian thing.
No, it's also a Western thing. It's
Maybe it's
prevalent
Indian or
outside.
American. I think
In America, living in, say, suburban, whatever, Mississippi.
I refuse to believe people want to travel just so they tell their friends they
Not
want to travel.
just, but also because they
Gets
can
fueled
post
by
It's
it.
an
pictures.
added benefit, but people want to travel just because they want to travel.
You know, I go to Maldives sometimes. It's very close from Bangalore, an hour's flight. Chinese couples come to Maldives not to check out Maldives. They come there to take pictures of
Pictures, yeah.
themselves.
Yeah.
Because social validation is such a big commodity in China, to the extent that who you marry, who you date, what job you get, all of these kind of like are so correlated to how much social
But
following
why
you
is
have.
this new talk?
No, it's not new.
Because we've been socially validating to each other since we were tribal, since we
No,
had a
not-
tribe and people put different makeup
I'm
on
not
their
saying
face.
it's new. What I'm
right,
saying is
it's the same.
I'm saying this category beyond 94, 95, these kids are different in this nuanced manner. Does the content created for them have to change?
Have to look different.
My answer is definitely not. There's nothing different between somebody born after 94 or somebody born in 1794. We all want social validation. We all want to signal to others that we're good, that we're pretty, that we're whatever. Even tribes in Papua New Guinea Okay, there's always that guy who's like best dressed, has a feather. Look at me, look at me, look at me. Now you can say look at me by having a nice picture in the Maldives. It's easier to say look at me, but the fundamentals of humans have not changed in 1994.
You know, just adding on to what he said and going back to the content bit, I remember when we were shooting, when Mismatch came to us and we started reading the text, the scripts of Mismatch, we were shooting it. Muskan, who's one of the actors on Mismatch with me, we used to keep discussing how this is so similar to the content we watched when I was a teenager. Like we watched Shararat and we watched Dil Mil Gaye. These were TV
amazing
soaps.
shows.
We watched Sanjeevni. What was the one that had Shweta in it?
All of them.
Yeah. And we realized that the content that is getting made in 2019 came out on Netflix in 2020 was so similar to what I was watching when I was 12 and 13.
Right.
And that came from a whole kind of peak of all the crime dramas, all the true crime, all slightly darker, grayer content. So when you speak about all this, that maybe has the machinery changed, or do we approach a different angle when you're telling these stories? Then I want to hear what you guys have to say about this. That how come then a simple piece of content that was very new at the time that it came out, because most of the content was very unlike that, resonated with an audience that is post 94. But it was also something that resonated with us when we were that age.
I think broadly, first principles thinking when it comes to content creation, broadly I agree with Nusair that broadly I agree that fundamentally brains haven't changed. Brains and the chemical reaction in the brain when you perceive something, that
takes thousands of years.
That hasn't changed.
Do you think woke content will work more today than it did 100
but I was just
years ago?
getting to the nuances. Some of the nuances you should keep in mind is that the things that a hyper-connected world, the big difference between 1794 and now is that we are hyper-connected, right? So content moves a lot faster. So know that we're in a post-truth world, right? We're not in a world where anything gets verified ever.
We always were in a post-truth world.
So this is the nuance from today, which is that shit gets boring a lot quicker.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right? As opposed to 1794.
Correct.
Tricks get older a lot quicker now, as opposed to 1794.
Correct.
That's the kind of nuance I was trying to look at, which is you got to reinvent a lot more. Shit gets boring a lot quicker.
Yeah.
But it's not a sexy answer that Nikhil was looking for.
Is there a sexy answer? Like I want to tell the 20-year-old girl what to go and create, which will do better than 100 years ago.
Okay. Like, should we brainstorm on different categories? Like, I'm assuming define her access. Like, what makes her unique?
Yeah, exactly.
Nothing unique, more generic. Like
Say she's into fashion.
Say she's
or she's into math.
very specifically
Tech,
India
coding.
focused. She's studying BCom in a tier 2 college in Bangalore. Let's say pocket money is not 50,000. Let's say it's 10,000 rupees.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But what are her interests?
She likes music, Bollywood, stock investing, and content creators.
All right. So off the top of my head, Bollywood, she could review movies.
Yeah, I'd say.
Is that an opportunity? Because there are so many people already reviewing movies.
Yeah. What's the manner in which they're reviewing movies? A format idea is you could review movies either straight, like, hey, this is what I thought of the movie, or you review movies in a format. Like I would do a format like things I thought of while watching Rocky or Rani. That's my format. That's how I do movie reviews. Yeah. I just tell you the thoughts in my head. So it's just a series of jump cuts like, I thought this.
Or she could do something that's unique to her. Stock investing for women that are broke. That's her thing. Stock investing for women that are broke.
Or just simplifying communication around stocks. We weren't taught that. Tell me how to do my taxes.
Stocks for women.
The sexy answer for me is new age journalism. Start talking about world events. It's very risky. It'll get you cancelled a lot. But if you
what are you saying, Ranveer?
New age. I'm not like taking away nothing from journalism degrees. I think you need to be trained to be a journalist, etc., etc. But dude, I don't care. It's where the world is going.
No, I actually resonate with him. I feel like journalism inherently as an idea sitting behind a corporation does not work, because every corporation has bias. It has to eventually become more fragmented.
Every journalist that wants to survive as a journalist has to go independent
Every human has
in
bias.
the next 10 years.
I agree with you.
I feel like especially when you're starting off, and I agree to what you're saying, but I feel like it'll take a 20-year-old creator who's starting off a really long time to reach there to also have the guts to put it out like that. It's
Fair.
not easy
Yeah.
to put yourself out there because it's ruthless. And why do we forget that at the end of the day, it is a job?
It's much more ruthless for women than men.
Yeah, and you have to turn your laptop off and you have to have a life where you are not messed up in your head
Is
because of
that
something
true
that
what
happened.
he said? Is it a lot more ruthless for women?
I'm always the wrong person to answer this, and I'll get to that in just a minute. But like finishing what I was saying, so I feel like for anyone new, actually woman or man, start or any other gender starting off right now, I feel like it's important, and it goes back to what we said a while ago. It's important for you to get that confidence and validation and credit for yourself to kind of keep going because it's a much longer journey. So I feel like if she had to start to reach what you are saying, she will have to do something as basic as report things as is. And then start pushing out opinions, then start giving perspective, then start sharing personal
Yeah.
stories, see what the community is saying.
But would she get traction if she reports things as is?
So many channels are. There are so many channels right now that are only doing YouTube news.
Yeah, reports things as is, as in the most boring way possible. No,
Not in the most boring way, obviously.
So the nuance comes
but
in.
things as they are, like truth is often very boring.
But with a different format, with a bit more energy. What if she does it? What if
God.
she's
if
dancing?
it's jump cutty
presentation,
and if
yeah.
it's not the kinds that she's sitting in front of a green screen and reading out of a folder, but she is, say it is a vlog where every hour of the day, suppose she vlogs for 10 hours a day and every hour of the day she gives you a fun fact.
This is vlogs is the answer also.
Really?
Yeah, because
No,
it's
vlogs is
engaging.
not the answer.
I thought vlogs had become really big a few years ago, right? And then it disappeared.
2016, then it died.
Least
I remember
path with
Casey
least
Neistat.
friction for likes. Vlogging.
Casey
Vlogging?
Neistat.
Vlogging?
Yeah, in India, for sure. Like,
But your life has to be interesting. Making a vlog is much harder.
You've not seen Indian vlogs.
And it has to stay interesting every day.
Okay, for people who don't know, what is a vlog?
It's a video log of
your
anything.
life.
It's basically filming your life from when you wake up until when you sleep. It's a 10 to 20 minute long video, and it basically means you have your camera with you the whole goddamn time.
It's live.
Yeah.
So the thing is, vlogging can either be high effort vlogging or it could just be documenting your life. It is the it's the quickest way of outputting something, which is you just document everything that's happening. So there are lots of incredibly boring vlogs, and there are folks who make it interesting as well. Second question.
Give me
you
a
were
good
answering.
example. Indian vlogs?
Indian vlogs of what? Like,
Anything. Who's doing well?
yeah, so India's biggest vlogger is this guy called Saurav
Saurav
Joshi.
Joshi.
Super interesting, right? Like he lives with his family in a small town called Haldwani. He lives with his mom, dad, his younger brother, some extended family. Extremely relatable. Like he puts out a video every day that clocks like 5 to 7 million views every single day. So for me as a viewer,
So
this
what's
is
working there?
just pure relatability. He's just like millions and millions of other families in this country. So people love
Is-
watching.
Is that what's working for Ankit?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Also, Ankit is also like a mission-driven creator. Mission-driven creators are also very aspirational. Like,
So if I were again a 20-year-old boy instead of a girl and I want to start on the journey of vlogging to
Yeah.
build distribution,
yeah.
what kind of life should I project? What will work?
Not only life, but I think the quickest way to form a community is to find a mission. Like if you were starting saying, I'm going to get 6-pack abs,
75 hard.
75 hard, like I'm going to get this in the next X number of days, the viewer automatically roots that you get it. So
Is that going back to your earlier point where you have to have a reveal at the end?
that it helps when
Helps,
people
yeah.
want to find
There's
out
an end goal.
what's the end of this story. If there's an end goal, people want to watch it till the end, right?
Yeah.
That's the
Prajakta,
story.
if you had to start a vlog, that would work.
I would do that, working out for 100 days. And I vlog my workout journey every single day.
Like there's this
Because
really
the-
popular YouTuber called Ryan Trehan, right? Who became massive. He started a series called Traveling Across America Using One Penny, right? No, sorry, correct
Yeah,
me if I'm wrong.
correct.
Traveling across
In 30 days.
In 30 days, traveling across America using one penny. So every episode he would begin with one penny and be like, I'm going to go from point A to B.
Yeah.
it makes the episode automatically that much more
Why go
viewable.
far? I mean, Nas Daily, that's how it was. It was a 1,000-day journey around the world. So you start to see, I started to see that the numbers of likes and views started to go up in the last 20 days. Because people are like, oh, how is he going to end his 1,000-day journey? Is he going to break a day? And what's going to happen on day 1,000? On day 1,000, I got the most number of likes I ever got.
Ankit,
So that's the reveal.
75 hard, 75th day, most number of views.
Now he's a lot more than 75.
Now he's a lot more. Now he's just continuing.
You do a lot of stuff around, Ranveer does a lot of spirituality, religion, the whole UFO, mystic
occult.
stuff and all of that. Is there a big audience for that? Is that a hack?
There is a big audience for that because it interests a lot of people. It genuinely interested me since I was a kid, and I get to explore these subjects as an adult. So I think the genuinity of it is what that massive TAM connects with.
The one thing life has taught me is never shit on anything because nobody knows what you don't know. So I don't want to comment about it from that lens. But if I were a creator who wants to build traction in that segment, what should I really talk about?
The truth is that, at least what I sense in India, is that that phase has gone now.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Religion,
Not religion. Religion will never go. The other stuff you mentioned.
alien.
Yeah. People want depth in content now.
But there can be depth there too, right?
So if you can bring depth, great, but there aren't enough people to talk about it now in India.
So what does Ranveer think today will work in the next 1 year?
The next 1 year?
1
the
to 2 years.
Elections are coming up. So political content, young people are getting into politics. Older people don't have the balls to speak about politics nowadays. So if some kid speaks about politics, it'll actually garner a lot of attention.
And what else?
That's one massive one. Geopolitics.
Extremes get views.
Yeah. Geopolitics is the other one. Same.
And when
kind of
you're
thing.
talking about politics, will the anti-view get a lot more traction?
I think at this point it's about depth. Think School, great example. Deep content that's selling. You can't do surface level content. At least I'm speaking from a very India perspective, but I think this is the case from international, in international waters as well. We see that with Andrew Huberman. We see that with even Andrew Schultz and all these guys. They go deep with their conversations. So now is that point where Joe Rogan was in 2018, where he started doing 3-hour podcasts and people are willing to listen to it. So if you bring depth to your content,
What worked for Joe Rogan?
quantity.
You think?
Yes. I've been listening to Joe Rogan since I was in college, which is 2011 or 2012. And he used to get 30,000 views. And I've seen him going from there to this $100 million Spotify contract. Before I began content creation, it was a dream of mine to have a podcast. But I always thought, dude, India either will never be ready for a podcast or it's not ready for a podcast yet. And I started my shit because we were doing 2 channels. Work was getting too much for me. I wanted to switch off 1 channel. Team said, listen, what's the easiest form of content you can do? I said, I'll talk to people and turn that into content. And then we just hit a wave.
Okay, next question. How big of a hack is making content in regional languages?
Big
hack.
Huge hack.
Huge hack.
I'll give you a stat. Nas Daily has 65 million followers. 30 million of our followers don't speak English. They cannot speak English. We have 2 million followers in Vietnam. That's 2% of the country. And I don't speak a single word of Vietnamese. 14% of Russia watches Nas Daily every month on YouTube, the kids mainly. Why? It's because we take the same content that we've done in English and we localize it to 13 other languages.
Using AI or like...
We did subtitles. We did the beginning. We did subtitles, and now we do dubbing, which we pay $100 per minute, and now we're using AI. But all of that has unlocked a massive market. The question is why?
Can you also give some tools after you say why?
Yeah, that's it. Why does Nas Daily have 2 million followers in Vietnam? Because the demand for content in Vietnam is very high. You have 100 million people. Each one of them has 10 hours every day. They want to watch videos. But the people making the videos in Vietnam are very low. There's only state media. It's like TV, which is boring, and a couple of content creators. And every Hollywood movie doesn't actually make it to Vietnam. All this content you make does not make it to Vietnam. All this podcast you make does not make it to Vietnam. So there's no supply of content. When you add this content in Vietnamese, the supply is so low, you get so many views. That is called a hack, like equilibrium. There's no equilibrium in content, supply and demand. So in English, there is an equilibrium. There's enough supply of content, there's enough demand for it, you mean in the middle.
Yeah.
In Vietnamese, supply is so low, the demand is so high.
It's true. When you speak to people's identity, it generates just a higher engagement rate, right? Be it in their native language or be it about who they are. For example, if I say, 10 things only engineers will understand, right? You'll get a lot more shares from engineers. 10 things that only Vietnamese people will get.
That's interesting. Go deeper in that.
If you speaking to someone's identity just gets more like BuzzFeed pioneered this ages ago, right? BuzzFeed did take this quiz if you're overweight or 15 things that fat girls will relate to, right? Like they pioneered this and it became obvious eventually. That's why nationalistic content does really well. That's why geopolitics does really well, right? Because geopolitics, you can't speak about geopolitics without attracting an identity touch point of the two countries that you're talking about. I do Pakistanis are savage. Why do I put Pakistanis are savage in the title? Because I know Pakistani people are gonna click on it.
Yeah.
Right? So that's another hack, which is when you speak to people's identities, they'll engage
good.
and share
And
more.
how do you identify niche identities?
There's just large islands, man. There's so many
Countries.
identities.
How do you figure that out? Like if I'm a content creator,
The
who's
language you
starting
speak at home, that's one identity. The job you do, that's one identity. The family you grew up around, that's one identity. You went to ICSE,
your nation
CBSE.
identity is the easiest one to
Nation
use.
identity is the easiest one. What in India there are so many, because we have 5,000 identities, there are 5,000 islands. ICSE, CBSE,
But
SSC schools.
how do I find a small enough identity?
Why do you need to find a small
Why do you need to
identity?
find a small?
Because
Find
the
a big
smaller
one.
it is, the more they'll share, you said, right?
No,
No,
find
no,
the-
no, you
Find
want
the
bigger.
biggest one.
The biggest one is country, then.
Yes,
No,
they
but
don't
the
know
more,
words.
the
That
more
is the thing.
specific you are, the more specific you are,
specific.
that kind of helps.
I'm taking specific as smaller. So
No,
what
no,
are these
it's
identities
countries.
which are unutilized?
It's countries. You have no idea. When people actually start content creation, like influencers in America, they go where? They go to the Philippines. Because when a white guy...
they collaborate with Indians now.
When a white guy goes to the Philippines and says, I ate Filipino food.
Yeah, huge.
Huge. Same with India. Actually, I got pushback. I got canceled because I made so many videos in the Philippines because they were like, oh, you're just using us to get views. Which wasn't true. I actually really like the Philippines. But anyway, that
But
was
also,
the thing.
yes.
I went to 70 countries.
Can I say something? There's something that I've realized with the whole regional targeting of content, right? And correct me if I'm wrong. This is just something also. This is something I've felt in the past 2-3 years, and that has helped me as a creator in taking the pressure off of numbers. For example, when I started off, in my head, content creators had a pyramid, right? If you had more numbers, you were on top. And then as you had lesser numbers, you were on the bottom of the food chain.
It's a reverse pyramid.
Reverse pyramid. Yeah, like that one.
Go on.
But at this point, I feel like it's a globe where one person's top is other person's bottom. If a brand has to come to me to market a product in a certain language that is spoken in a certain part of the country that I don't speak, I could have millions and millions of followers, but I'm useless.
Doesn't matter.
It does not matter. A creator who speaks the regional language, has the regional references, and has 1/100th of my numbers
Could charge a premium.
could charge a premium and get that much ROI
Yep.
for the brand. So at this point, regional content has reached a point where the whole dynamics of the creator economy have shifted to really depends on where you're coming from and whom do you want to talk to.
And supply is lower, so you can also charge more.
Exactly. Nelson Mandela said an amazing quote. If you speak to a man in a language that he learned, it goes to his brain.
Yes.
If you speak to a man in his native language, it goes to his heart.
I have something to add to that from the Indian context. I've always believed that in India, the English content, you do it for the money. The Hindi content, you do it for the power.
Yeah, that makes sense. It goes to the heart.
You can actually influence people's lives. Like
Hindi content you do for money,
No. English content you do
do
for
for
money.
money.
It's higher brand value.
And
Brand
Hindi you do
managers
for
can
power.
speak English.
That's true. Brand managers can speak in the decision
Brand
makers when it
managers
comes to
value it.
influencer marketing will know.
No, also Ranveer, higher ARPU for English-speaking people.
Also, before we leave this topic, I want to ask, what are the tools a new creator can use today to translate? Like, what works, what doesn't?
Oh, AI has solved this.
Which
HeyGen.
one?
So HeyGen is now AI dubbing.
Spell it.
HEYGEN.
GEN. Actually, I built a company called
Is
Descent.
that better than dubbing? Paying somebody to dub?
It's very expensive. So paying somebody to buy, you need an agency. It's $100 per minute.
Also, maybe,
Very expensive.
I please give your opinions. I don't know if it's the best decision to dub straight from the beginning of your content.
Oh yeah, do not
journey.
do that. Yeah, just start with one language. Don't even consider it.
Ace content is a skill. It is a skill. It's different from filmmaking. Like you need to understand how social media works and evolves.
Yeah.
So maybe at the start, just
Yeah.
create your initial.
We only did this when after I hit 15 million followers.
So then you use something like
Then
HeyChat.
you start 13 languages. Yeah, different languages.
And you're saying AI works just as well as dubbing today.
In the next 2 months,
It'll
will be
be-
just as
it'll
good.
be
It'll be
there.
so damn cheap. It's
Asian
so
is already
exciting.
very good. The cost to make and duplicate content is going to zero. We're
But
almost there.
doesn't it look weird when your mouth is doing
No,
a
not
different thing?
anymore.
No, not anymore.
I have a
Dude, it's
video,
going to
I'll
get
show you later.
built in on YouTube, Nikhil. There's going to be a button where you can select a language and your mouth will move in that language. It's going to come into YouTube. It's going to take forever because YouTube is a slightly slower moving beast, but it's going to come.
Do subtitles work?
So, interestingly enough, there's 2 types of countries in the world. There's a subtitle country and a dubbing country. Germany is a dubbing country. That's why when you go visit Germany, nobody speaks English because they watch Hollywood dubbed. But in Serbia, and in my country, it's a subtitle country. So I would watch movies, but I would read
Interesting.
subtitles. That's why I speak English. Thank God I was born in a subtitle country. And this is what scares me about dubbing. It'll make you not learn the language.
What works in India?
India is a subtitle country, I think. I think it's...
Only Nasir will have the answer.
Actually, India may be a dubbing country.
Hey, what about virtue signaling? I know a lot
Yeah,
of
what about it?
actors and business people
Can you
do it,
explain what virtue signaling is?
pretending to be a saint, whereas you're as human as all of us.
Like signaling how virtuous you
Got
are.
it, got
On
it, got it,
social
got it.
media, if you survive long enough on social media, people know exactly who you are.
Yeah, exactly.
Virtue signaling works, Nikhil. It does work, but it creates an expectation out of you that's hard to sustain. Because not everybody is as virtuous as they claim to be.
Nobody is.
Nobody is. So you can virtue signal and it does work, which is people will like you and people will think a certain way of you.
Yeah, but I'm talking about somebody who wants to become a creator, 20-year-old. Will virtue signaling work for someone like that?
It's not. I think at that stage it's important to just stand out. All this comes later. I think
Yeah.
it's a way to hack the algorithm.
Yeah, what's
So you're
the point
saying-
of signaling your virtues in emptiness? Like you need a large audience to signal your virtue to. Get your audience, then virtue signal.
You'll
Virtues-
also not know what the virtue is for a very long time.
So begin by being anti, whatever. And when you have an audience, become more virtuous and resonate with whatever society.
If you have a large enough audience, you will need to display your virtue at some
Yes,
point.
you
Or
need
you'll
to.
find the need to.
When is that point?
It could
when,
be.
when your audience start to ask you to virtue signal, when your audience start to ask you, what's your opinion about Israel and Palestine?
Yeah, when they
Yeah.
start speaking
You've
back. to
crossed
you.
that point.
I've crossed that.
Actually, all of you have crossed that point.
Yeah, well,
Nikhil, your audience will expect what they think you will respond to.
Yes.
Right? If you continuously virtue signal about my thoughts on what the political affairs are, and if you keep talking about that, at some point, if you go quiet, your audience will be like, yo, what happened? Why aren't you opining about this?
Or even something as simple as relationships. When creators share about their relationship
Yeah.
online,
Yeah.
and then they go all out, sharing, talking about it, even doing brand deals, things like that. And then
correct.
when that falls out,
people are
and your
like, "What
audience
happened?"
expects you to answer, I don't think that's the time you can take a stand saying, oh no, I want my space.
Yeah. But what I recommend to people is that the image that they are in real life should be online. It's so important.
Yeah.
I have a.
That's interesting.
Yeah. With social media, so much of you is out there. Okay. Because of the show, I met a lot of people who mentored me in many ways. And I tried being the best possible dude in real life. Wasn't successful everywhere. Made mistakes, but a lot of that rubbed off. For example, my channel began as a fitness channel. Maximize your fitness. I worked on my mental health in order to talk about mental health content. I won't make yoga content until I've mastered yoga, and I've begun yoga since the last year. So if you have a vision of what kind of content you want to make, start working on it right now.
You can fake it till you make it. But for how long? I mean, it's possible to fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can. I mean, that's true.
I also feel like collaborations are very, very powerful when you start a creative journey.
That's interesting. Go into that. How
Yeah.
does a new person collaborate, and who do they collaborate with?
With other new people.
Like people who are near your numbers.
How do you find them?
Or you can be ambitious. Like I remember shooting Lily a text as often as I could
We
till
all
it
have.
happened. Yeah.
We all have short Lily a text at some
Till
point.
it actually happened. I remember shooting or like just kind of manifesting in my head and wanting to do something with Hrithik Roshan. I'm a huge fan till that happened. But that took a long, long time. I'm just saying, in general, I have learned so
And
much
what works
from...
when you message these people? What can one say that will work?
Hi, I'm a creator and this is what I do and I really, really like your work. And if you have some time, I would love to shoot
Doesn't
something
work.
with you.
Doesn't work.
It doesn't work though.
No, it's just whenever you're asking someone anything, their time, money,
Especially their time.
especially their time, you gotta understand what would incentivize them.
You must give
Yeah.
them value.
Yeah.
When I speak about collaborations, I also speak about friendships and allies in the creator community.
Say I'm a creator beginning today. I want to be a part of an ecosystem with other curators and creators. How do I find them?
When I started off, I don't know, I don't think YouTube does that anymore, but when I started off, I remember telling my partner manager at YouTube or just shooting text to YouTube saying
What is
when
a partner manager at YouTube?
you'll have a partner manager on YouTube who's looking after your account and is who you can sit down with every now and then.
If you're big enough.
Yeah, you
back
don't
in
have
the
that
day-
anymore.
Back in the day, there were fewer creators. Now, to get to be eligible for a partner manager, you need to have
Certain
X
amount
thousand
of, yeah.
hours of watch time, X number of
Yeah.
subscribers, etc. So it's hard now.
Yeah.
The number of partner managers per creator is very low.
A lot. So I remember telling her that if there's any kind of social gathering, any kind of panel discussion, any kind of creator workshop happening, please sign me up for this because I want to go and meet other people and I want to do that. What we can do now is I feel like a lot of creators, like a lot of newer creators now I meet at social events done by YouTube or Facebook or Instagram. And I just feel like
Is that a good hack to show up at these events? And
Not
I
Summit.
think so.
Hello,
Yeah.
show up at Not
Summits,
Summit.
yeah. like finding these
I'm coming to
hubs
find some.
where conversations relevant to what you are doing or in the realm of your life as a creator are happening and kind of wanting to be in those places.
There is something called non-consensual collaboration.
What is that?
Okay. For example, this is a growing trend now, which is if you want to collaborate with someone, you start talking about how you want to collaborate with this person. And you get your whole follower base to go start spamming them in messages saying, this person wants to do something with you, right? So what the algorithm is doing is the algorithm is recognizing that this person is talking about this person. So the video automatically starts getting recommended to people who follow this person. This happens on YouTube all the time. It starts happening on Instagram, etc., etc.
Like Virat Kohli?
Like Virat Kohli. That's
my
non-consensual
God.
collaboration. This dude just kept talking about, Virat.
I love that.
So non-consensual collaboration is one. But generally speaking, you want to collaborate with people you're more likely to get a yes to collaborate one.
Yeah.
So people want to collaborate up, but that's hard. So you
Yeah.
want to start collaborating sideways.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Thumbnails and titles, how important are they?
Very important.
Not important
Not?
Really?
at all. Zero. Should we debate?
Yeah?
Go ahead. Why is it important?
Sizzle matters as much as steak. Sizzle matters. I mean, there's enough documented evidence that suggests that. I mean, Mr. Beast is a great example. Just last week, he was tweeting about how videos where he closes his mouth get a lot more views than thumbnails where his mouth is open.
I thought he said the other thing. Thumbnails when his mouth is open get more views. Because then people...
Either or. Basically, he
'cause when
changed
his
one
mouth
variable.
is open, people think he's saying something and want to click it.
Yeah. So either or, which is, he changed one variable and that made a big difference. Boring, I mean, no, sir, how can you disagree? Boring title. I mean, of course, short video,
That's the
the
point.
short video is completely
What I'm
different.
trying to say is there's only one platform and one type of video
Yeah.
where thumbnail and title matter, which is a long video on YouTube.
On YouTube, yeah.
The majority of people watching this are going to be uploading Instagram Reels.
Yes.
On an Instagram Reels, the title doesn't matter.
Thumbnail doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. In fact, no one should be stressing over this at the beginning.
Yeah.
Just stress over the first 3 seconds of the video, the first sentence that you say in the video.
Yeah.
So on TikTok, thumbnails don't matter. On Instagram, thumbnails don't matter. And on Facebook, thumbnails don't matter. And in YouTube Shorts, thumbnails don't matter. Only on YouTube long videos.
Videos
Okay,
with
so for
thumbnails.
YouTube videos, what do you do? How do you make a thumbnail and a title that works?
I've delegated everything in my organization when it comes to video content other than actually coming on screen. Titling and thumbnails are things I've not been able to delegate. And I have two other channels. I have Beer Biceps, which is English, Ranveer Alabadia Hindi. There's TRS Clips English and TRS Clips Hindi. The titles are done by me, and the thumbnails are also suggested.
Just want to suggest some things that people could follow. You should probably check out Paddy Galloway. He does a YouTube course and he talks a lot about titling and thumbnail. Follow this guy called Papa Okus on Twitter. He's an Indian kid who is deeply into it. Sorry, I just wanted to throw in the recommendation.
So when it comes to titles, there's very easy wins, okay? How, why, what? Start the title with how and why, because the average human really wants to know why Greenland is not actually green. The human brain really wants to know how aquariums work, okay? So how and why is a very easy win. The second easy win is superlatives, and we teach all this at NAS Academy. I've done this 50 times. Superlatives. Everybody wants to know the story of the world's tallest man.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to know who is the world's youngest billionaire.
Yeah.
Who is it? You know, so so extremes and how and why. And the last one is paradox. So the unhappy billionaire. Well, you assume a billionaire is always happy, right?
Contradictory.
But why are they unhappy? Contradictory. So that's the three biggest categories for things that we're gonna click on.
Is there a tool that you can use that'll help in this?
Pattern recognition.
If you pirate the NAS Academy course and put it into ChatGPT,
And then share it on Instagram.
Why not just like pay money? Why not just
if
give
you
us money?
pirate the course,
Is there a course on how to put good thumbnails and titles?
Yeah, like it's a module, but there, I don't know if there's a.
And how
full
much do you
course.
charge?
The price is not India friendly.
Tell us.
It's $3,000 for 5 months, but it's 5 months.
5-month cohort.
What if
5-month
somebody
cohort.
just wants to learn this bit?
You can't. Just go to
You
YouTube. Get
pirate
it.
it and you get it for free.
For free. Stop it! Because of you, we don't make money.
Okay, you guys, tips. Thumbnail and titles.
For me, these things didn't work. Like after a point, maybe it's because I have a larger quantity of content. So then I need to bring novelty to the titles and all that. I try focusing on first 3 words. That's all.
And what do you do in the first 3 words?
I actually learned it from you. I think you had suggested this first 3 words. It has to match the content of the video. Shocking, secret. This is what works in India. Dark. These kind of words that create an emotion.
Give us some more. Shocking, secret, dark, then?
Twisted.
Because when you say that, people...
Intense.
You're playing the inquisitiveness card.
Yeah.
But again, this is I used to believe in set formulas for titles, and TRS Clips English and Hindi taught me otherwise. It was just a very brutal experience for me, and it's still a brutal experience.
I think some things that could help people are just observe your own behavior when you're clicking on videos. If just that one moment of self-reflection saying what made me click on it.
Yeah.
Outside of what Nuzair also said, I agree with that. The TAM of your video really matters, which is total addressable market. Like you could have a paradoxical title about something that nobody cares about and it would not get views. It should be a broad TAM. That's what I want.
Also copy successful videos. So look at a viral video, like go to like a Vox channel and sort the videos by
Popularity, great hack.
and then just copy their thumbnail and copy the title.
Yeah, so one hack is you could go to any YouTube channel of the genre that you are operating in. So if Ranveer was starting out and he was talking about fitness, I would say go to the top 10 fitness channels that are existing, go to videos, click on most popular and just see the subjects that are done really well. It auto sorts. Your first 20 videos are already there. It's just the first 20
But
most
guys,
popular.
I really hope anybody watching this, I cannot stress it enough. Do not start your career by making long YouTube videos. Please, it will ruin your dream. There's no discoverability engine in this. This is only when you're big enough. For now, focus on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube
but
Shorts.
this comes with caveats. For example, you could do long videos. For example, if you're a bunch of friends, you want to start a podcast, you could, but you optimized for short video output.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what you optimize for. You could do long form video, but likelihood of success is very low.
Yeah.
You optimize for short video output.
Yes.
In fact, now a lot of people actually do podcasts very much keeping in mind that I'm actually not shooting a 2-hour podcast. I'm shooting 20 clips.
Yeah, that's fine.
You were saying?
Like when we used to do this, right? When we started off, we would upload a YouTube video and Instagram had just started video on it. So we used to cut a 20-second trailer from our video and then put it on
onto
Instagram
Instagram
and say full video on YouTube. But that did wonders for us. So I feel like you can use that model right now by what he's saying, like make a longer video, but then optimize it by
Optimize it for
cutting
short.
tiny bits of it and putting it
But
up.
make the short video whole, not like
Yeah.
a teaser.
Yeah.
Whole, like
Yeah.
from beginning to end, a story. Not saying, hey, go to YouTube to see the rest, because nobody will go to YouTube
Yeah.
these days.
Yeah.
That doesn't work.
No.
If you put a part of something and say, go here to watch full.
It could, depends on what it is. I have seen
that plays
instances
into
where,
your early story of that 3, 2, 1, 1 being the big thing.
yeah, it can work.
Changing apps to do that is a monumental
No,
task.
from YouTube short to YouTube full.
Yeah, that because there's a feature now which can just one click and you go to the main
As
part.
of last
video.
week. As of last week, that's fine. But before that, it was very hard.
Yeah.
Prajakta, tips, title and thumbnail. What worked for you?
I don't know. I really don't know. I think I was just winging it. I don't think I was putting any sort of logic or science to it when I was doing it. I would go week to week. If there's a video that worked, I was so focused on the engagement under the video and understanding the content that I think what I could have done better was that also put some focus on the title and thumbnail. I don't think I did that.
This I don't know thing is key because actually everyone's building their own inherent communities, and often if it's a content creator, only the content creator, not even like the second in command, third in command, understand the community's pulse as well. So there is an I don't know, even like when I'm starting to write the titles, I don't know where they come out from, but they come out well.
Right. Give me one unique hack each that you guys learned along your illustrious journeys, like decade plus, right?
What the have we been doing this far?
One-
It's all been insights that we have learned over the last decade.
One hack to a 20-year-old boy or girl who wants to become a creator.
When you're starting off, don't care as much about expensive equipment, setups, money, investment, marketing. When you're starting off,
Equipment doesn't matter that much.
no, as long I mean, you have cell phones right now that have cameras with good sound, good video. Even if it's
ones?
a basic one, whatever you're using.
Most of them are good.
Most of them are good. As long as your video is crisp, clear, visible, and your sound is audible, I think you're good to start off.
Do you think increased clarity leads to increased views, like the production quality?
Production quality doesn't lead to
At
increased
some point,
views.
it becomes inversely correlated.
That's what we've observed. As
Yeah?
well.
Yeah.
I remember
Explain.
Bhuvan talking about it, where Bhuvan used to shoot on his phone all his videos, and he spoke about how he moved to a camera setup and his engagement went down.
I think people use Instagram with the intention of relating a little bit. At least with Instagram Reels, we've noticed that when we create a reel with SLR footage, it doesn't work as well as when you do it with iPhone footage. Like phone footage in general. I don't know why that is.
Here's my hack. The problem actually for most creators is they are too shy to hit publish or they take too long to publish a video. So they're like, I work on this video today. It's not perfect yet. I'll work on it tomorrow. And then tomorrow.
Yeah.
Work expands to the time allowed for it. Work expands to the time allowed for it, which means if you give yourself a deadline of 10 days to make a video, you will make that video in 10 days. And it'll take you 10 days of work. But if you commit to make a video every 5 days, and this is my deadline, on the 5th day, I must hit publish.
Yeah.
No matter what happens,
You'll make it.
you'll make the same quality video in 5 days.
In fact, when you were asking for hacks, I was going to say that most people who come to me and ask me for tips to do YouTube, actually all they want to hear is just hit publish.
Just hit publish,
Just do it.
Yeah.
Most people want to ask for advice thinking there's some secret thing that YouTubers or creators
begin.
know. It's really not a thing. There's nothing that'll teach you more than uploading 5 times.
So with Nas Daily, my deadline was 24 hours. Every 24 hours, I must hit publish, even if I really, really hate the video, I must publish it. And so that pushing to head shoot to, and you must commit publicly to it. And another thing is when you say, privately, I'll just do a video every day. But actually, what I found
pressure,
work, the pressure of when you go and tell all your family members and all your friends and everybody on Facebook, I've committed to losing weight, or I've committed to making 100 videos in 100 days, you will do it.
Also, adding on to that, I feel like if you are getting into it as a creator for a longer run, please treat it as a job and get that discipline into it.
But how do you make that switch? Like today, if I have college or a job and I'm earning say 50,000 rupees a month, I'm spending some money, my spare time creating content.
Yeah.
When
So I'm
do I
saying
make
assign
that
that spare
decision?
time. Tell yourself that if I'm working, say a 9 to 5, I come home, I say, chill with friends or work out and stuff like that. But I'm going to give myself a 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. to sit and ideate content when you're starting off.
Another question, who do you learn from? Because we looked online and could not find anything useful really in how to become a creator.
Oh, my next hack, my next hack. If you're about to start content creation, ditch your friends. Say goodbye to your friends. Your friends will be a hindrance to you because your friends are doing 9-to-5 jobs, lawyer, accounting, KPMG engineer, okay? When you're uploading that video, you will feel so alone. You'll never have felt lonelier in your life. So the first thing I did when I started Nas Daily, I literally said to all my friends in New York, bye. I'm going to Kenya by myself and I'm gonna make videos. And so that's my recommendation is, one, ditch your existing friends because you're about to enter a whole new industry. And two, surround yourself with new types of friends that are from the creative industry. The ones that don't shame you for screaming in front of a video. My existing friends shamed me.
I don't know if that can be like a blanket advice to everyone.
Yeah, I want to be controversial, of course, for the 1 minute video.
No, but I'm saying, but every kind of content. I don't think that could be advice that could be used by everyone making every kind of content. Because that's how you started. But for me, when I started off, I needed those 2 friends of mine because one of them came to hold the camera for me the first time
so they're helping you with the content.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so ditch your friends that don't help you with the content.
Yeah, ditch your friends who aren't unconditionally supportive all the time.
That you should ditch anyway. Don't wait to be a creator to ditch those friends.
Fair.
You could be a lawyer, you could be a teacher, and if they're not supportive, you should ditch them.
Fair enough.
Yeah. More hacks. One more hack.
No. I actually don't know if this is a thing that a lot of people ask. Should I quit my job? What is the optimal time to leave your job? Like Nikhil, I think, touched upon this. Like, is it when you start making as much money as your job does, and or when you start making slightly lesser money, but you think there's the potential for it? What do you think? I'm asking you.
Oh, it goes for me. Okay, I actually don't think about it in terms of money. I think about it in terms of time. So the question is, if I don't have a job today, how many months do I need to figure out a new career in content creation? So I needed 1 year to test content creation. How much money do I spend in 1 year? I need to save that. Yeah. So the answer was like $30,000, $40,000 in New York, which is a lot of money. So I saved that. And then I was like, okay, I have 1 year of freedom. Let's just go all in on content. By the end of the year, it doesn't work. I'm back to a job.
Very few people are able to succeed while also doing another thing.
Yeah.
It's very tough to do that. If you do, you're really talented.
You're Elon Musk.
You're really talented at being able to figure out in your spare time how to crush it at the content thing.
Yeah.
So it requires you to make that jump to actually fully succeed in it.
While you're doing something.
You can start.
I feel like
You can start, yeah.
Get
But-
a sense of.
We talked about the and economy. You can still be a doctor and a creator if you make 1 video per week.
Yeah.
But if you make 1 video per day, there's no
Yeah.
space for anything.
Yeah.
I have warnings rather than hacks. 2 warnings. First, don't do it if you're too sensitive. And don't do it if you don't enjoy the actual process of creating videos. At this stage. Maybe later on, animated content will become more mainstream and doable. But right now, it's a lot about shooting, lighting, thinking of what you want to show in your video. So unless you're truly having fun with creating something and showing it to people, don't do it.
Also, I feel like be okay with the fact that you'll never completely get it. You'll never completely have a grip on it. You will constantly be learning, you will constantly be evolving, and be okay with that change. Because I feel like if you enter being a content creator thinking, okay, I've got it, I know how to do it, I have it all in place, I think you're just gonna fall flat.
It's a very cliched thing, but be original is too cliched.
Yeah.
But I think a better way to say it is blind copying can only take you this far.
Yeah.
Blind copying can take you to a distance, but beyond that, you gotta have your own spin on it. Otherwise, it's not long lasting.
Money. Uncomfortable question.
We love money. We should all say exactly how much money we make right here.
Okay, good idea. Start with yourself.
We know 77,000 tomorrow, but what about the other days?
So my financial journey is actually very transparent,
Yeah.
and I love sharing
Yeah,
it because
please.
it's. So I started with $30,000 in savings. I spent 1 year. I didn't make any money until I started to make $1,000, $2,000 a month from jobs when I had 100,000 followers. A brand deal comes here, a brand deal comes here. I was charging $1,000, $2,000. Then Facebook introduced monetization. I started to make money from my channel. I started to make $10,000 a month. And that was, for me, like I made it.
And how much traction did you have?
I had 1 million followers. So
On
1 million
Facebook.
followers on Facebook. I was making $10,000 a month. And then the beauty of the creator economy is that it doesn't go in a straight line. Your salary goes up in a straight line
Correct,
if you have a
correct,
job. 10%, 10%, 10% every month. But if you're a content creator, your salary will go up like this. And so this is what happened to me. So 1 million followers became 10 million followers, okay? Facebook started to give me $30,000 a month, okay? Then my brand deal started to be another $30,000 a month. Then speaking engagements, another $20,000 a month. So now I was averaging $80,000 a month. I finished 1,000 days. 3 years in, I was making $80,000 a month. Amazing. Okay, I became a millionaire. First time in my life at age 26, amazing. Then I was like, let's build a company because there's much more to this than can be. So then we built a company. The company started to make $20,000 making videos for other people. You've seen my social media video. Let me do it for you. Your brand, okay? Behind the scenes, okay? So you start to offer services. Then you start to monetize your community. Offer NAS Academy classes, NAS Summit, NAS Travels, okay? So all in all, I think this month, so I have 2 companies. The combined revenue of that is roughly now $900,000 to $1 million a month.
Wow.
And it's from like 6, 7 different sources. So it's highly diversified. And probably the profit is roughly 200K USD per month from one company. And then the other company is losing money. So losing 300K.
Is that the company I'm an investor in?
Yes.
Great track record.
Nikhil Kamath, genius investor.
Using your money.
All right, that's
So that's transparency. Now let me see you be financially naked, guys. Go ahead.
I'm not going to.
Yeah, me neither.
Wildly different. But I want to talk about numbers, right? So people, I think, grossly underestimate how much money YouTube can pay.
Yes.
Right? In my experience, based on India CPMs, if you get 1 million, views, you can make like 1 million to 1 lakh rupees. Is that
Varied on CP.
varied on the CPMs, but largely at somewhere around that. If you get 1 million views, you can make up to 1 lakh rupees. 1 lakh rupees at the
1 million.
But the lower cap is also
lower cap.
What's
Lower
that
cap would
amount?
be
can be
huh?
What's 1 lakh in dollars?
100,000 rupees.
no 80,000.
No, $1,000.
What?
1 million
$100.
views and $1,000 in India? No way, Jose.
Yeah,
It's $200.
depends. Again, it's a
So that's the
variable.
lower cap. He's saying up to
upper cap.
1,000.
I'm saying-
Up to if you make
saying-
financial
Yeah.
content for billionaires, you'll get $1,000 out of
Yeah,
it.
not necessarily. It really depends on the ads on your channel. For example, on my channel, 80% of the viewers are from India. The remaining 20% are from around the world. So my CPMs are higher. A big chunk of my viewers have YouTube Premium. A big chunk of the people from around the world are actually from USA.
But tell me duration as well. Like you're saying 1 million views.
yeah.
1 minute, 10 minute, 1 hour. That should
saying
determine how much you get paid,
So
right?
the average view duration on my channel is about 9.5 minutes of video.
Okay, that's why you make $1,000.
Yeah, that's why I
That's
probably make more.
Yeah.
But it's possible to make this much, right? Like
And how many views do you get in a month?
depend on the month, but 20 million is comfortable.
$20,000 a month.
$20,000 a month is very, very possible. Unfortunately, in India, the businesses that monetizes the audience, unless you are selling like finance courses or edtech courses, it's tough to sell to an audience when you're playing at that scale. There's not a lot of stuff that you can do. But branded revenue wise, if you're in the top 5-10% of creators, you can make over $1 million a year. Comf. You can do that. You can do that in
If
India.
you're getting how many views?
Not how many views. If you're in the top 10 percentile creators, you're able to make 7-10 crores from them.
That
Not.
means brand influencer marketing is $50 million market a year. In
No,
India.
it'll be more than that.
I think it's more than
'cause-
that already.
I think it's about 200 million, 250 million.
Yeah, so I don't
maybe
think it's
200
less than
people.
50. I think about 100, at least 100 plus creators are making more than that from brands. I'm talking purely from
I
brands.
think from community, they're making billions.
Yeah, there are, by the way, I know many creators who are making more from monetizing through courses and that kind of stuff. That can go higher. A lot of influencers have affiliate income that's coming from
What is the regulation around that? What is the confusion around it?
there's general talk about can we regulate influencers from disseminating financial information if they're not registered with the national authority. But my thought is also, mainstream media has been doing this for very long. You should probably also look at that. A bunch of these TV channels have been doing what effectively influencers are accused of doing this for very long now. At a time where media was not as decentralized now, so the effect of disseminating financial information during centralized media time was a lot higher that we're all discounting. Secondly, I actually think that net influencers have had a positive impact because there's a whole generation that CNBC was not talking to.
Yeah.
I agree with you, 100%.
Yeah, there's just a large generation that, and by the way, the information asymmetry was capitalized on.
Yeah.
Right. Whereas information has gotten decentralized and accessible to way more people now. So net, I think influencers have done more for the education than TV channels ever did.
Yeah.
So my personal gut is that, look at your own backyard for the last 2 decades, and then maybe make these challenges. And by the way, a lot of this will, a lot of legacy media houses are not going to like this fact that someone can wake up, start making Instagram reels,
Yes.
get more distribution than them. Because I know influencers are making more revenue than full media houses combined. And getting more views, making more revenue. There's no reason
There's a reason why they're doing that. They're putting out better quality.
They're putting out better quality. So is there envy? Yes. And are you going to use that muscle to go after people? Yes. And are we going to see more of it? Yes. It's going to happen more and more and more. Like how we said, brands are not your friends. Legacy media houses are not your friends.
Yeah.
This goes for all influencers. They're not your friends.
Your only
But
friend is
the
your community.
lines should not be crossed. I feel like
Of course.
at some points they were, and there
course.
should be measures taken to curtail and
Of
have
course.
some kind of a line.
Of course.
But net have
And apply
influence-
those rules to everyone.
Yeah,
Apply those rules to everyone.
rules have to apply commonly to everyone.
Yeah, if someone's getting slaughtered for promoting a certain exchange, go after all the newspapers that also did the same.
Yeah,
Agreed. Why aren't you doing that? Apply the rules to everyone.
Yeah.
agreed. You're making a fair point. So you make $20,000 a month from YouTube,
You can make. There are months that are better. There are months that are worse.
and from brands you probably make.
Yeah, I think the upward cap is it's possible if you have more than 10 million across different social media profiles.
Which you
can.
do?
I have. So you can make upwards of $1 million a year. The market can price you dynamically.
Yeah.
You are worth what the person who's willing to pay you. That's what.
And
That's what your
outside
worth
of the
is.
fact that you're my friend and I'll say good things, I think your ads are the ads that I remember
Yeah.
in many, many years.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate
After
that.
a really long time,
Yeah.
if we have ads that have the recall value that used to have of all the iconic ads that we studied in BMM, it's yours.
BMM.
Yeah, because we had advertising and we would have these case studies that we would study about Pepsi and Coke and everyone.
What is BMM?
Bachelors in Mass Media. That's what we both studied. Yeah.
Fevicol. All those campaigns we used to study.
So the agency that I run, it's called Moonshot. There are a couple of agencies that I'm a part of. The one that specifically does television commercials is called Moonshot. I'm very lucky that I've had collaborators over the years who have decided to make my co-founder. This, by the way, is something that I recommend to every influencer, right? Especially those who are who have large distributions. So I was very lucky that I had a lot of collaborators in the past who after a few years they started their own business. Some of whom I invested in and I became a co-founder in one agency. And some that I started with, like Moonshot is with Devya, that's where we write television commercials. I actually recommend a lot of, digital creators to find co-founders to team up with, because the biggest leverage that you have is distribution, right? So if you focus on the shit that you're really good at, you can offload a bunch of other stuff on other co-founders. It becomes easier for most digital creators to punt on a business or try a new business if there's someone else who you can do it with. But if you're alone, it becomes very hard to run multiple businesses, because running your own distribution channel is also a full-time job. It's hard enough to do that.
Yeah.
It's tough for you to think that I'm going to continue building this distribution and I'm going to launch a fashion line and I'm going to do this. It becomes hard.
So I
Just find
want to make it
operators.
easy for people watching this. Okay, there's 3 avenues you can take, and you see a lot of us are taking different avenues. One, you can say, I am a creator, I'm a successful creator. My next step is I want to build my own business and control my own business, then do it by myself, right? That's Nas Daily, Nas Company. Everything I'm doing is like building an entrepreneur, building my own stock, basically. Another thing is say, I have distribution, I love being a creator, and I want to partner with others, and I want to build 5 businesses, and I'll be a co-founder with other people.
Yeah.
And so that's the path that you've taken.
Yeah.
Another one says, actually, I want to continue to build a business out of my talent and my creativity and create more content and well, that's what you're doing with writing a book, creating a TV show and all that stuff. So you continue building, you are the business, right? Here is your co-founders are the business. Here is me and my team are the business, right? But each way is valid.
Yeah.
There's no right or wrong.
It's forward.
There's no right or wrong. But one
you
thing,
are a combination of the 3.
but
I don't know what
Yeah,
I'm
he's doing a bunch of these. But one thing I can assure you, right? You want to build a business under your distribution no matter what.
Yes.
Because wealth is made through owning equity and not through renting your time out. And unfortunately, the branded content part of our business, it's effectively high rent.
Correct.
So you definitely want to do it. And I recommend creators who, you spend the first 3-4 years really growing and really enjoying that. But the second you start feeling like maybe there's a ceiling, start thinking about a business immediately. In fact, I won't even wait for the second you start feeling like there's a cap to it. You want to start doing it before. And the way to think about it is your main sources of income are going to be brands that pay you. You got to immediately think, what are my sources? Number 2, 3, 4.
Yes.
How else am I going to make money? And you got to try everything. You want to try affiliate, you want to try branded content, you want to try building your own business, you want to try consultancy, you want to try selling merch. You got to try all of it because you don't know what sticks and what your audience will buy.
Do you know what you invested in my company? So your money I'm using, we're building this platform that you've invested in, okay?
I know, Nas.io.
Nas.io. So Nas.io platform is basically saying, okay, in the future, brands will not be your friends, community will be. So Nas.io basically helps you take your community and turn it into a business. That's what is really important. Helps you sell those digital courses, helps you create a membership, helps you so we're seeing hundreds of people making tens of thousands of dollars on Nas.io from their community. And that is the future of business building. It's in the past, 20 years ago, I want to start a business on the internet. I build the product, I use Shopify, and I sell the business through marketing. Today is I create content, I get a community, I find a product for this community. It's a whole new way of making money. And so that's what Nas.io is designed for. And I think that's what a lot of creators will build businesses around.
I agree with him.
Nice plug.
I was about to say that.
Good sell.
I feel like one thing that Nasir does so well is really sell himself. And I
What?
feel
Are you
like
kidding?
and I mean that in a very good way.
I'm so bad at it.
No, I think the fact that
You're doing it again, dude.
by repetition, and that's what I learned as a creator, that sometimes you have to be your loudest cheerleader. You have to scream what
like
you're
your own,
doing.
Like your own posts.
Shut up.
Double tap on your own pictures.
I'm saying you have to tell the world what you're doing and exactly how you're doing
You have to
it.
have a clear message as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to know your brand.
Yeah.
What's the brand that's
for
selling?
sure. And you have to keep repeating it.
What is yours?
Oh, like and subscribe.
What is your brand that you keep screaming or that you think is a good idea to?
So I feel like as a creator, it never really stops. No matter how many numbers you
Yes.
get, no matter how famous you get, no matter
It's
how much
true.
impact you get, it
feel
never
the pain.
stops. You have to constantly keep pushing whatever little small, whatever it is, a tiny thing you did. It's a tiny, and that could go with brands as well. One thing to kind of also retain brands and have longer relationships with them is to subtly over deliver.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, this is a great tip.
Yeah.
Always
Just subtly.
over-deliver.
Don't make it look like aap hi bhagwan ho and everything you say will sell. But slightly. I've promised you 3 stories. I'll give you 5. Because it's
This is
pushing
something
my
a lot of creators are really bad at. They look at the transaction with the brand as
Immediate.
hey, you paid me this much, this is what you get.
Yeah.
Right? But really at the end of the day, it's
Short term.
people at the other end
Yeah.
who are trying to have a relationship with you.
Yeah.
And if you truly go out of your
Yes.
way to build that, it really pays off.
Yeah.
Because
This
brand
is a
managers
very,
go for-
very useful tip, right?
Yeah, but it's super useful, and a lot of people think that a lot of people will be like, "Hey, I won't work unless these things are required."
Yeah.
But you won't realize, it happens with me where I love talking to brand managers. I love it. I love spending time with them, really understanding what
And a
they
lot
want.
of times conversations get easier when you do it, right?
Way easier
Yeah.
because there's no 5 middlemen.
Yeah.
A lot of people like having a manager between you and someone
What
that
is a
you
brand
pres-
manager? Like say Adidas.
Yeah.
So Adidas has a brand.
So Adidas will have a main brand manager, then they might have like a person who deploys their influencer marketing capital.
And then they sometimes have an agency.
They sometimes will have an agency.
So
You
that's
want to build
five
a,
more
But
people.
these guys have favorites. They have favorite creators.
Correct.
And so you want to be their favorite.
you want to be their favorite. Like they literally decide on where to deploy dollars based on their timeline.
So you're saying
Who are
favorite
they?
is not necessarily traction, but also how.
Yeah,
Relationship.
Fully.
The way it works with brands is 3 ways. One night stands, dating,
Yeah.
or marriage.
Yeah.
One night stand is, give me money, I'll give you a service, bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeah.
And they never come back again. Dating is, let's make 10 videos in 10 months together.
Yeah.
Marriage is, I'm your brand ambassador.
Yeah.
You want marriage.
You want marriage.
You want marriage.
You want marriage with everyone.
And that's also the most effective.
Ranveer, sorry.
That is also the most effective kind of translation that will happen of a relationship with a brand. I've found out that when you do longer associations, it also benefits you as a creator and to your credibility.
For sure.
Because I will see creators who will speak about 3 brands in the same sector in a span of 1 month.
Yeah, not a good
And
look.
that immediately takes their credibility away from them. Like, but abhi to tune, you said that one was the best face wash. Now you're saying it's this one. So like, which one do I? But if I sell the same face wash for 3 years, that brings my credibility up for other brand products.
Would you also only sell what you like, or would you
Yes.
sell who pays?
Most creators would sell who pays. Come on, let's
Not
be
me, no.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There-
but most
there's a
creators-
number for most creators, but there's some like obvious category blocks. Like you want to avoid betting, and you want to avoid some stuff, fairness creams, and
Yeah.
that
Do you
sort of
think?
stuff.
Do you think this also become more relevant because people have lost faith in Bollywood and cricket because they sold everything for so long? So people don't buy from them anymore.
I think it's because the cricket player doesn't tell a story. The cricket player just wears the t-shirt and smiles.
Nikhil, I don't think it's about them using the product in the first case. It's all about legitimacy. If I see a brand with Shah Rukh, I'm not thinking Shah Rukh uses this. I'm thinking this brand can afford Shah Rukh. They're
Yeah.
not going away anytime.
But when you see Prajakta using it, do you think she uses it?
Yeah, I think even in the creator segment, you know, some creators are, more either add more legitimacy or they know that this creator is really big, so this must have been expensive to buy the slot. So it's spending power of a brand determines trust and legitimacy.
What is Shah Rukh doing right?
Ooh, so many things.
See, again, he's his biggest fan.
Who?
Shah
Shah
Rukh.
Rukh. He's his biggest fan. Yeah.
He is pushing everything he's doing and he is not being humble about it. He's there. He's like, I am good and I'm doing this and I feel like that is what I love about and that's what I want to learn.
This
from
is something that Shah Rukh has said before, which is his relationship with brands. I think it was Hyundai that he spoke about, saying that Hyundai did not.
He used those cards like visibly.
He visibly used those cards and he went out of his way and he had a very long partnership with them. Like he launched it with them.
Yeah.
And he has publicly said that there are, brands like Hyundai supported him even during the bad times. Look, you forget, at the end of the day, most of these industries are really small. The same people work in like 10, 15
Yes.
different brands, right? Like very rarely do people just stick around with one place for 20 years. People move around. This is so rare that creators develop relationship with brand managers. It's very rare.
Yeah.
Some of it is because agencies in the middle are very scared that if a creator talks to a client directly, they're going to miss their brokerage.
They'll know how much brokerage is
They'll know
gone.
how much brokerage is gone, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
This is why I push creators to talk to the brand guys directly. It's super important.
Don't put all your eggs into one manager because your manager may not have your best interest in mind. I've never had a manager in my entire life. Nothing wrong with having a manager. I know you have a manager and you have a manager. Nothing wrong with that. But be careful because when I am a brand and I give creators money, if a manager comes to me and be like, you can't talk to my client and my client doesn't do anything for less than $10,000, I give them the middle finger and I move the fuck on. So
You
you
guys
don't
are
want to be that
managers?
guy.
Yeah.
Viraj is your manager.
Also my co-founder.
Yeah. It's important to get your manager's incentives aligned with you.
Yeah.
That's
because
super
some things you want
important.
to do for free.
Yeah.
But your manager doesn't make any money on it.
Yeah.
Because they take a commission. But it's good for your branding, like going to Davos.
Yeah.
Davos doesn't pay. But it's important that we go to Davos to increase the brand. So the manager's incentive is only to work on brands that make money. So that's where the problems start to happen.
Yeah.
But these are the top of the pile, right? Like
Yeah,
you
it's
guys are top of the pyramid.
That's true.
I would call it survivors. We're survivors. It's a survival game. It's not like about
There's
reaching.
likes in victimhood.
We made it through. We stood our ground.
When do you start making money?
Meaningful money or any money?
Any money?
I think within like 2 months.
Yeah?
I actually didn't make any money for like almost a year.
Wow. I made $200 after 2 months.
I think if you start getting upwards of 50,000 views on YouTube, you can and if you get that regularly, YouTube will start paying you.
How much will they pay you? Let's say you put out 4 videos in a month, which one gets 50, another gets 10, another gets 5.
I had
Then you
put-
make nothing. 55, 10 and all, you make nothing.
Yeah.
No?
No.
Yeah. That is why it took me that long.
You want to make at least 100,000 views plus for you to make a few thousand rupees on YouTube in India.
Wow.
This is why
Per
I get
month,
back to the
yes?
same point. On YouTube, you need 1 million people to
Yeah,
make $100.
correct.
In a community, you need 100 people to make $1,000. In a
Correct.
community, each one of your members will pay you $10. That $10 times 100 is $1,000. Your community is where you make the money, not from the brands and not from YouTube.
Yeah.
Any hint, hack on building that community?
Yes, own the audience.
How?
It's so important. My biggest mistake was for 7 years, I was just going viral, making TikTok happy, making Facebook happy, making Instagram happy. You scroll past and you never see me again, right? No, now in the middle of the freaking video, I stop and I'm like, listen, you Mr. Person, you like my video about Ecuador? Join my Nasayo community because I am gonna take you to Ecuador. So every video, every 1 million views, I funnel 20,000 people and I get their email and I get their phone number. Great. Now I can reach those people for the next 10 years while I can never reach them again on YouTube. So now
It's in the platform's interest to not let you own the
they
audience.
never let you go. So now I have 20,000 people. I email them using Nasayo
Is
software.
subscriber audience?
So here's the interesting
even
part.
money.
On YouTube, if someone subscribes to you, you don't get any details about them.
Like, do you have an audience whose number, email?
I have
everything you
400,000 now.
I don't have that.
You need to start building that.
I have a mind performance app. So they go there, they use the app.
Yeah, I don't have that either.
But you
Well,
gotta
you
build
need
it.
that too.
I need that very badly.
I wish somebody told me this when I started. I would have 5 million numbers now, but I only have 400,000. But 80% of my revenue now comes from these 400,000 emails.
Maybe, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. The way I look at it is if you're getting the numbers and names and also giving them some utility in return, it's much more long-term and powerful.
Yes.
And I think that's how young content creators should look at it.
Yeah, that's what it means to build a community off of social media.
No, I'm not talking about it, but generally I think a lot of people just send out newsletters and all. I don't know how effective newsletters are anymore, and I might be entirely wrong.
Oh, very effective. Like my ex-girlfriend Aline, right? She has, let's say, 300,000 followers on I'll give you a number because she's off public about her numbers. 300,000 followers on Instagram. She's like, at a time, join my newsletter, okay? So Nasayo helps you do that. So join my newsletter.
Just in case you
just in
missed the
case.
last
Nasayo
7
was
times you
designed for
said
that. So now she has, I think, 10,000 emails of girls interested in retreats. Each product is $3,000, $4,000. Now
So she's
she
sitting on
makes,
$3 million of potential revenue.
yeah, so she makes $500,000 a year from that 10,000 mailing list selling retreats.
Wow.
And she makes zero from Instagram.
That's
Zero.
where the real money is then.
Yes.
Yeah, in owning your audience.
Yes.
I agree.
Do you feel any different about the Indian audiences and how they respond to these things?
No, I think it's possible to get the data. I think that's very possible. You just need the right carrot at the end of it.
Yeah.
I also think that Indian audience ARPU is lower, but I think that if you find the right product, you're able to monetize them. Like it's possible to do. It's just whether me and you can do it really depends on the product. It's possible to do it.
What's a really successful Indian content creator-led product?
Finance with Sharon.
Finance with Sharon. Sharon's done it really well. I think a lot of the guys who do courses are able to monetize very easily because Hopium, right? Which is, you think that doing X is going to help you do way better. Products are harder to move because,
Physical products, you mean?
yeah, physical products are harder to move. Like I know Bollywood movie stars have launched products and most of them are tanked. There are very few hits. Like it has to be the right and perfect fit. Hrithik and HRX was perfect.
That's why I recommend experiences. Not a lot of creators are doing that.
Yeah,
I
experiences
feel like
is a good
dance
one.
creators are doing that, no?
Like learn dancing.
Yeah.
Learn
Perfect.
dancing. Yeah,
Yeah,
you
like
want-
Nicole and Sonal are doing that. Yeah.
Yeah, you can build a bunch of service businesses
Yeah.
easily.
Take your audience with you to the Himalayas for a 7-day meditation retreat. I would do it with you. You're the guru on this stuff. How to be more connected with yourself. I mean, I would do it with you.
Will YouTube go after you when you do that?
No,
No.
they will not. Patreon is a $5 billion company, and that's the whole idea of it.
Yeah.
They upload videos early, right?
What?
What does Patreon do?
Patreon is a different platform where you can pay a creator a certain fee to get certain privileges. Memberships.
But basically, you take the data. I mean, taking the data from YouTube, it's fair and square if you're doing it like inside the video content. If you put a link and people click on it, it's fair and square.
Does YouTube downgrade you if you're monetizing versus being free?
No.
Does it upgrade you if you're monetizing?
No. They don't care. I mean, it's good for them if you're monetizing because they are also monetizing them. YouTube takes 55% of ad revenue and 30% of membership revenue.
Okay. So the last section, the penultimate section, is how to
Damn.
The last section of this section.
just between us, like we want to cover the entire breadth of what a young person wanting to build a following needs. What do you think we've missed?
Nothing. See you next time.
Any tools? Any like hacks? Do you use
Oh,
ChatGPT, Midjourney?
All of that is useful. All the AI tools will be super useful.
Rate in order of useful the top 3
GPT is very useful
for?
Everything.
at everything. Ideation, writing, like
Research.
scripts are now automated.
Yeah.
We're going to have one-click LLM training very soon. It's already out there. It's just not mega simplified. So
What is LLM training?
large language model training, which means you can take potentially all the scripts you've ever written in your voice, feed it into a large language model, and it can start spitting out content in your style. Like it's doable. Like people have already done it with comedians. Like they've taken scripts of, Bill Hicks, George Carlin, and said, what would George Carlin say about Y? And if you have enough data to train the LLM, this is possible to do, and it will be eventually very, very easy to do. Dubbing tools, just keep an eye out on the AI stuff. Follow Overpowered. That's super helpful. GPT is super useful. All things content creation. It can help you ideate, think of titles, what should be the thumbnail, everything. Right, writing the full script. All that is useful. One hack that I would recommend is if you know how to edit, it's super useful.
Yeah.
If you know how the end product is made after you're done shooting,
Yeah.
it is very useful because it'll start changing the way you actually even
Shoot.
start thinking about.
Yeah.
But will your editing quality be as good as a professional in time?
If you edit enough, yeah. I would say if you can edit a short form video with captions, cuts, other
Music.
footage, you're learning a lot
Yeah.
in a very quick time.
Yeah.
But actually, my biggest recommendation to people is your first hire should be an editor. If you can afford to hire anybody, hire an editor because that's how you buy back your time. So when I was making the daily videos, I made the first 750 videos myself. It was taking me 5 hours of editing every single day. When I hired that person, it freed me 5 hours a day to do everything else, build a business, get an editor.
If you have really talented team members, like if your editor is really good, people are going to try and poach this editor immediately. People are literally going to try and copy, poach, do all of that. So one thing that's really helped me is I have a small team of 4 or 5 folks who've been with me for the last 3 or 4 years.
And you hide them.
Huh?
You hide them in a
I don't hide them. They get credited in every video. Their names and Instagram IDs are public. But one thing that I did is every time I do like a sponsored thing, everybody involved in the video gets a piece of it. So the editor gets paid bonus on a sponsored video. The cast members get a piece of this thing. Right from Shankar to the editors to the cast members, everybody gets a piece of the sponsored content that comes in. Because it just, the vibe of the room changes when I say there's a sponsored video because everybody who's working on it feels like, all right, good payday for me.
Yeah.
So
It's a good idea. I recommend that.
I would highly recommend it because I know my guys, like, the months that I have had a great month, they've had a great month too. Months where I've had an okay month, they've had an okay month.
I
How
feel
much
like that's
money
what I
does a-
mean when I say that collaboration is so important when you become a creator. That eventually you are going to have to make your band of people who believe in your content and want to contribute to it as much as you do.
Most of the content creators who went mainstream and then faded away, often it was an outcome of the teams leaving them. I've noticed this a lot.
And most people don't do this. I say this a lot to other creators and everyone's always like, oh, you do that? I'm like, yeah.
We do this, but we do 7% profit share. So every
okay.
month, 7% of the profit goes back to the team as a bonus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it gets tricky when the team is too big because you don't want the editor to make the most money and the executive assistant not to make any money.
Yeah, correct.
So you want to make sure the whole team gets part of that.
Gets a piece of it. It's very easy when it's just a small team.
And
Yes.
Yeah.
And if somebody watching this, if you don't want to be a creator and you say, oh, my face is not designed for this, my personality, I'm too shy for this, right? Then become an editor. For every one of us, we have created together 200, 300 jobs, right? So there's 200 creator economy jobs from 4 channels. So you can be an editor, you can be an executive assistant, you can be a producer, you can be a scriptwriter. There's many jobs in the creator economy. If you're still watching until the end of this video, it really means you should apply for one of these jobs.
Does how you look, what you wear, matter? Makeup, no makeup, how you look, what t-shirt you're wearing, what dress you're wearing.
I mean, Nusair wears the same thing every day.
Every
I know.
single day.
Depends if you're a guy or a girl, to be honest.
Yeah, depends if you're a guy or a girl.
Looks matter a lot for women.
But you know, I remember when I started off on YouTube and I started uploading content, us time pe to it was, oh, if you're going on camera, you have to put makeup on. If I'm shooting a video, I have to put makeup on, I have to dress a certain way, I have to speak a certain way. And then I think 3 or 4 weeks into making my videos, I did one video where I sat down in my pajamas and I wasn't wearing any makeup and my hair wasn't done.
Real Talk Tuesday!
Real Talk Tuesday, my first Real Talk Tuesday video, where I was replying to hate comments. And all the comments under were, oh my God, it's so nice to see you like this because you're more relatable like that. And ever since then, my idea of associating the way I look to what I do has really changed. And that only happened because I put myself out on the internet. So it can work either ways.
Wow.
Prajakta is pretty like real that way. Like she's sweating and working out and she's like...
And that's why
"Hey."
people love you, because you're
Yeah.
very relatable.
Relatable.
But and I've also had a time where I went on because I felt that pressure at one point and I was like, everybody's posting such nice pictures. Maybe I should get styled and, I should also do like hair and makeup all the time and all the pictures have to be SLR pictures. And I put them out and the first picture did really well and then the second dipped and then the third dipped and the fourth dipped. And then I put out a selfie of me eating Chinese at the Yashraj Wali Gully and that one shot up. And that's when I realized that, you know what? It's different for everyone.
Yeah.
And I'm so happy that I'm in a position where I can de-link the two things.
Very cool.
So it really depends on how you approach it and what precedent you want to set with it.
Female influencers have it rough. Like there's a head count that comes with the pressure of always looking good is like...
Yeah.
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 And
so
the comment
much
section.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the comment section.
How much money does it cost to produce videos when you're beginning?
Depends on the kind of videos, Nikhil. You'll have to
Should be zero.
Yeah.
Just your
Yeah.
time.
So, okay, last question. We told people, we tried to teach people how to become an influencer, how the monetization world works. Last question, how to stay relevant, how to continue to get traction and grow once you have become an influencer.
Keep reinventing. Have some form
That's
of
very
reinvention.
broad, yeah, Ranveer.
Keep
What did you say?
Keep some form of reinvention going every 6 months. For example, either you think of switching genres, I'm just telling you based on what's worked for me, or in the product that you're creating, which for me in this case is the podcast, you have to bring something new, some new genre. If you're constantly bringing one narrative, bring the opposite narrative. You have to serve novelty. And personally, I feel the core of this is in your real life as a human, you have to keep evolving. Either find new friend groups, travel more, learn a new skill. You have to do new shit because the content at the end of the day is coming out of your heart. So that's the core. At least that's what worked for me.
To break it down into a really tiny piece, listen to your audience. Your audience, that's the good thing about putting yourself on the internet. They are extremely honest. Nothing will
Little
humble
too
you.
honest sometimes.
Yeah, nothing will humble you like your audience. If it's working, they're going to shout it and they're going to tell you that it's working. The minute it stops working, they're going to shout that also.
How does it sound when it stops working?
Oh my God. Videos are not fun anymore. We used to like the kind of videos you used to make before. Go back to doing that. This is not working. It's very blatant. You won't have to sit and decipher. It's in the words, it's written in that many words to you. And these are people, and I look forward to this because this is the community that has helped me through all the new things that I said. The Khayali Pulao that he was talking about. It was a short film that was so away from the content that I'd ever made. I was very scared. But I couldn't have the guts to make it if I didn't have the confidence that my audience will tell me the truth, whether it works or not.
Also, yeah, if your engagement goes down, that's also a metric of
Yeah.
people aren't liking this.
Yeah, your relevance so it's very easy actually to keep a reality check on how well your content is doing or how relevant you are based on what your audience is telling you.
I like to think of it as spikes and waves, which is if you want to be all the consistent stuff that you keep putting out, those are waves, and you got to keep thinking about what's your next spike. What this means is you're forced to experiment, or you're forced to do something that's going to get the next new unique users onto your platform.
So if you live to make videos, if your number one goal of living is to make the videos, it's unsustainable, because at some point you'll be so tired of this. You don't want to make another cooking video. You don't want to make another travel video. You're done. That's why my number one advice to stay relevant is to live your best life. Keep living a very interesting life and make videos about that life. Instead of living life to make videos, live an interesting life and take the audience with you. So for example, when I was traveling the world, the audience came with me. Now I'm building a company. The audience must come with me. Some will don't want to stay behind, but this is where I'm going. And the audience must come with me because there's no option, because I ain't going back to the old days, right? And then when I do my third act, the audience will have to come. The audience love to see a hero fall and a hero succeed. They love to see a hero like go up. So the most interesting thing about Nas Daily is, where is it gonna go next? Because you don't know that. So don't live to make videos, live an interesting life and make videos about it.
Smart. Makes a lot of sense. Okay, guys, at the end of every episode, we try and do something to help the community we are teaching on that particular day. We hope this is in a manner college that most people do not have access to. We looked far and wide online on how to be an influencer. We didn't find much. But when we asked people, this is such a profession that young people want to get into now. What for me as a kid was being a pilot or an astronaut, things I knew shit about, but I said it because it was cool back then. Today, that is being a social media content creator. So I'd like to request you guys to allocate a certain amount of money. We will run a democratic process of picking these creators, really talented young budding guys and girls from different corners of India. So you allocate the money, we will pick them democratically, and then we will help them out with whatever we can, whoever are the winners of this contest in a manner.
How many are there going to be?
50?
50 people?
Yeah.
Okay.
So start with Tanmay. Is there an amount you'd like to allocate for this?
Oh, 5 lakhs.
Prajakta?
Same.
Because I'm religious, I'll say 5 lakh and 1 rupee.
I'll make it 5 lakh and 2 rupees.
Hey, bidding is good. You guys want to compete?
I mean, if we keep adding 1 rupee, we'll be here all night.
So I want to take this 5 lakhs and I want to give it to trainers to teach all 50 people for free for 2 months. So we're going to give a class with all the stuff that they make. We'll give them free education with actual trainers from India. And then 2 months, and they'll become friends, and they'll ditch their old friends, and then hopefully they'll become creators.
Super.
So we'll commit to that.
Yeah. And I'll add an amount to 50 lakhs to the same thing, and we'll combine it all together and we'll run this. And I think it can go a long way in helping many new young people become like people on this table.
Or
Sounds
better.
good.
Or better.
That's amazing.
Or
Bro,
better.
that's very generous of you, by the way. 50 lakhs. It's like a big deal.
We do it every episode.
Wow. Super cool.
Yeah. You know, the guess, it's a monetary loss if you're a guest on this podcast.
You've been here 4 times. Oh my God.
You tell me this after 6 hours.
What's going on?
All the best, guys. All the best.
Yeah, this is the part where you thank your guests.
Thank you guys for coming.
It was the longest podcast we've done in the history of
How many
podcasts.
hours was
How
it?
many hours?
5?
5 hours.
5 hours.
5-hour podcast.
5.5.
Oh my God.
Wow.
One last thing. We wanted to show you guys videos from your.
Wow.
Why?
Would
Why?
like all of
That's
you to react.
insane.
Oh no, this can't be nice. Oh my God.
Hi. Okay, after that freakishly awkward introduction, hello G. My name is Prajakta.
Why would you do that?
Who the hell is that?
Why would you do that? Seriously, guys. Seriously.
I have no clue why I'm doing this, but I think it'll be fun. Here's the idea. Once a day, I'm gonna make one video that's 1 minute long. That's it.
That's not.
You look so
that's
cute,
you?
bro.
Got a tan as well.
Yeah.
That's where it all started.
Hey guys, my name is Ranveer Alabadia. I'm 22 years old. I've been gymming for 3 years
I'm basically an engineering graduate, but I'm also a fitness trainer. Fitness and food are my two biggest passions, hence the name Beer.
Ranveer didn't have a mic.
You can eat whatever you want.
तू पार्टी करेगा
मैं पार्टी करूंगा
चल पार्टी करेंगे
चल पार्टी कर रहे हैं
मेरे से पार्टी करेगा
मैं तेरे साथ पार्टी करूंगा
फुल पार्टी होगा है
सारी पार्टी होगा रे
पार्टी करेंगे
अरे पार्टी की
तो पार्टी
खत्म करेंगे सालों को
We need a before and after video.
What is style to you?
Honestly, मैं ज़्यादा stylish नहीं हूँ, but I like things which are comfortable.
So weird. 10 years.
all candles bore me
Oh my god, that was a really old.
It's a really nice picture.
That's a nice photo.
suffering from success
These are all like really old.
Wow.
That was vanilla. I thought you found some scandalous shit.
They did.
Guys.
That was my channel.
This